I think you have been, deceived, in some capacity to think that, at a zygote, it's not really any big deal. And Erudite has been deceived. Her stance is like some arbitrary amount of parts of the brain, which she has like gone back on. And I know I can't ask you about that because if you just joined, but she initially said 5 and she said, well, geckos only have 3, so I don't care about that. But then when actually pushed on like what specific 5 and like, what if you have 4? Then she's like, well, maybe it still is, an ontologically important moral being. And it's like, okay, so it's not like a, you know what I mean? It's not like I think every woman is like dumb, but I think we are taught when you go get an abortion, right? They're not like, hey, just so you know, this is a person. They're like, right, we hear these like kind of like destructive terms like, oh, it's a clump of cells at a certain point, right? It's like, you would agree, Ryan, we're all clumps of cells. I'm just one big clump of cells, right? So like that's like, you at least agree that is like, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where it's like there's words that we use to make women feel better about getting abortions that we know are lies. Not lies in the sense that the baby is a clump of cells, the fetus is a clump of cells, but it's a lie because everyone is a clump of cells. So it's like it's trying to like morally load it in a negative way to be like, you shouldn't care about it because it's a clump of cells, right?
I mean, I guess I can understand that like pushback on that, but at the same time, I think most women who get an abortion, they understand that they are making a difficult decision, and I don't feel like any personal need to like double down and slam them for that and be like, hey, don't you know that what you're doing is a really a big deal? And they're like, well, yeah, I know it's a big deal. It's very scary. Like I think they know that.
I think they're sacrificing their child to Rimfan, aka Moloch.
Well, that's your opinion, man. I respect.
No. They're being brainwashed by the bagel propaganda.
Marilyn. Okay. Marilyn, what do you think? Marilyn, as the only woman right now that's currently chatting, what do you think about abortion? If you agree with me, tell Ryan he's wrong. If you don't agree, then don't join panel, because then he doesn't need like any help.
I've got a wild feeling she's against you.
Against me or against Ryan?
Against you, Confluence. Just wild.
You think Marilyn is pro? Marilyn, are you pro? If you're pro-choice, Marilyn, hop up. I mean, also if you're pro-life, hop up, but especially if you're pro-choice.
And plus, she's God. She doesn't view killing that way.
I don't know. I feel like we're putting words in Marilyn's mouth. Okay, I don't know if Marilyn would precisely put it into those.
You're antagonizing her so she joins the panel. It's a good strategy, Kyle. We'll see if it plays out.
I shared your link in my chat, so we might get some guest appearances.
As long, look. Well, actually, no. I was gonna say as long as it's not that one guy, but I'll bring him up again. That crazy guy.
You come at Alpha?
Oh, this might. I think he's playing. Blood on the Clock Tower right now. But he.
No, that guy's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
After you left, he ended up being like way more sound. I'm talking about the duck guy.
Oh, Duck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Duck is fucking crazy though, but I will still have him back. But he's fucking crazy. Do we know Don did so Latin Americano? Is this one of your guys, Ryan?
Oh yeah, this is one of mine. Apparently my sound away from my chat. Interesting, because I changed the setting. Give me a second. I'm gonna mute. Really?
All right, Dan did so. I don't know what to call you. You're a very long name.
Dan did so. Dan, whichever the two did so. It's an indigenous.
Why would I be?
It's an indigenous.
I am low. Why?
Word meaning seed. So.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for pulling me up. Just real quickly, I am pro regulation or legalization of abortion, what you guys in North America would call pro-choice.
Doubled it.
So yeah, basically, I've actively worked here in Latin America in the legislative sense. I've worked about 20 different projects in different countries in Latin America. I did assist to a grade with the Mexican legalization of abortion that just happened with the Supreme Court, the Argentina case, the Chile case, the Costa Rica case, my country. So, yeah.
Test.
So you're actively trying to...
Question for the Mexican. Are you still storming the presidential palace?
Yeah, she's.
I don't know if he
living,
did. He
she's
say he's in Mexico. He says in Latin America.
No,
I thought he
I'm in
said
Costa
Still,
Rica.
though, like at this point.
Oh,
Is it
my
done?
bad. I misunderstood.
No.
I thought you said something about Mexico. My
Oh,
bad.
Test. 1, 2, 3. 1,
He
2,
did,
3,
Yeah,
but
1.
about
not in
that
reference
situation.
to
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he was
Arrest,
from
more
Mexico. That's
arrest.
why. That's why I thought he was in Mexico.
So you were. Am I saying
mistake.
this right?
Costa Rica.
You're actively globetrotting through Latin America to like get abortion legalized. Am I hearing this right?
Yeah, I work in 3 major areas: human rights.
Currently at
I work
25?
in
That's
the matters
crazy.
of drug policy
Beautiful.
reform. I've pushed for it here in my country as well as throughout Latin America, the legalization of cannabis and the legalization of all drugs, drug policy reform. Then I work in abortion matters as a secondary satellite subject. And then I work with local as well as
Testing.
national levels of policies, defending
I
human
think it's pretty
rights.
cool that Mexicans deporting illegals.
What?
Well, it seems today that's not the
test.
subject. Another day we can go ahead and see how
How about
good
now?
you
Oh,
are
yeah,
in the questions of Latin America or how well informed you are.
Good answer, did so. Good answer. K2 is the guy who tries to derail everything. So good job staying on topic. Okay, so why are you so passionate about about abortion?
think
I
that,
guess
Michelle,
to not
but
morally loaded too
that-
much, but
That is turned all the way up right now. That
Sure. I
setting's all the
mean,
way
in
up.
simple,
It's all the way up.
straight
so I
out
don't know
question.
why. That doesn't make any sense.
The
What the fuck?
illegalization of abortion is a counterproductive, unnecessary policy that enables criminality, that enables
What if I
and pushes
switch to
the
this temporarily?
overreach and
Feels
the
like this is my camera
and
right
the
now.
complete nonsensical oversight of
Switch
government
back.
in a medical question. It generates a series of impacts in society that are unnecessary, like the violation of the woman's
So
decisions
weird.
to make over her own self and in relation to the society, as well as a breakage on the implementation of human rights as a inalienable, indivisible, interdependent rights that have been established through the ratification of this human rights.
okay, but I don't know. Okay,
That's
so
what I am looking at. That's what I'm
I'm a
saying.
little
I'm on
bit
that.
confused. I guess if I can start at the beginning, are you saying that you just think it should be legalized because you think it'll cause too much harm if it's not, or do you think that it is like a moral thing to do and there's no moral questioner? Like I understand legally you want it legalized, but like what's your moral stance? I guess.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute them for a second just so we can try to play with this. So like right now, like I'm in my PC settings or my Mac settings, right? And like the volume bar is all the way up. So I'm gonna close it for a second and reopen it and see if it changes. Yeah, it goes all the way down. I can't. It's so strange. What the fuck is happening to me? Am I going crazy, gang? Let me see. Yeah, apparently I'm low for. It looks like I'm low for them too. Like it keeps going down. Like am I ever loud? Am I ever loud? Like or is it always quiet? Because like I'm changing the setting and it's like it's going back down and I don't know when it's going back down or what's causing it to go back down. So I'm trying to figure that out. Apple and their planned obsolescence. Maybe it's just like what? Okay, what if I Oh, it is flipping back between loud and quiet. Okay, that's helpful. That is helpful. So like if I close my settings and I'm gonna try this again. When I close settings, reopen. Yeah, it goes every time I close my settings, like it drops down. I have no idea why. For like 3 seconds. That is so upsetting. Okay, what if I'm just curious. What if I close my overlay? Testing. Let's see. I'm gonna close this again. Like, it might be possible that my overlay's doing. No, okay, it still went down. Like, it's loud, and then I close my settings. Can you keep it open? Well, the only reason I'm closing it is because that's the only time that I see the bar go down. But yeah, it's open right now. It's staying, so it's still open, still open, still open, still open. I'm so sorry, guys. This is so frustrating. But let me let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT how to find what programs are interacting with my mic/input levels on my Mac. Because something is obviously affecting it, right? Like something is doing it. Can you go back and forth, up and down? This is low, this is down. This is all the way up. This is low. This is basically where it goes when I close it. And this is all the way up. Oh, privacy and security microphone. Oh, here we go. Here we go. A bunch of shit has access. Okay, I'm going to start closing later. No, wait, I do want Dia to have it. Okay, there's a bunch of crap that has it that I can get rid of. But like none of these are open. No, I need this one to have it. Okay. There's literally no difference. It's just always low. Okay, right now it says it's all the way up. So I'm going to close the settings again and reopen them. Yeah, it went down again. What the fuck? What the actual I'm actually like getting mad. Like I'm getting angry at this right now. Like I don't know. This is like those shitty poorly coded games that have a volume slider that don't work. Yeah, like I just, it's like something is changing it. Like some one of the like one of my apps or something for some reason is being impacted. How about if I'm gonna turn on this feedback when input is changed? Maybe I can hear it. Well, that would be just that would probably just be just audio, right? Right back down again. Well, damn. I'm Hey, no, sir. You're not gonna join in on this. No. If you wanted to debug, temporarily turn off mic access for everyone. Use the mic indicator. Modern Mac shows an orange dot when the microphone is in use. Where? Look at your menu. I don't see that. You can hear me. Yeah, but if I go back to if I like join the if I join the panel again, you guys like won't be able to hear me, and apparently they can't hear me well either. Hi, a couple of Burks. Sorry, everyone who's showing up when we're having like, yeah, I guess I'm kind of a noob. I'm so confused because like this just started happening. Here, I'm gonna leave the call for a minute. I'm gonna close all my everything except for OBS. Okay. So right now I'm gonna move the bar. Whoa, we're loud. We're super loud. Okay. Properties. Okay, I think right now we should have steady Umbreon. No, sir. Right now, sound seems to be good. Seems to be coming through right now. But I closed everything. So I'm gonna reopen. I'm gonna reopen Dia, which is the browser of choice. Maybe this browser does not like this. We might have fixed it, guys. We're gonna see. Testing, testing, testing. It's also possible it just went down. No, it still looks good. Okay, we're looking good. We're looking good. We're looking good. Test, test, test. It doesn't, wait, it's not. Uh-oh. Okay, it didn't, see, it did go down again. What the fuck? Why? Clear and loud. Now shut up or turn it down. It's like, it's still automatically moving. So let me see what still has it. So privacy, security. Microphone. This will be worth all the effort, right? Okay, so Dia, it looks like the one of the things that has it is Dia, which I'm quitting and reopening by turning that off and not giving it mic access. But now now no one will be able to hear me on the call because this browser doesn't have access. Yeah, see, like it's so maybe this means, okay, wait, I have an idea. I have an idea. So maybe there's a setting in Dia. No, I don't see anything like that. It's still better. Yeah, it should be. Like right now, I don't think. Oftentimes, browsers reduce volume on their own for microphones. I'm using Dia, but I probably shouldn't be because it's like more like a kind of beta browser. But so let me just open up Safari or something, or even do I still have Chrome? Yeah, I have Chrome. Let's just open Chrome. I think that's going to be the best move here. Is just use Chrome. I think that is it's just so weird that okay, so I have to also give I think I have to give Chrome access again, so I'm gonna have to close and reopen it. But this should work now, I think. Google Chrome, quit and reopen. Use the built-in flag in Chrome by navigating the Chrome flag, searching for allow WebRTC to adjust the input volume. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, we'll see if it still happens with Chrome, then we'll do that. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But okay, so I'm going to now select Google Chrome, StreamYard, allow while visiting the site. Okay. Hey, Umbreon, please. Okay, I think we got it. I think we should be good. Okay, I'm gonna open up.
About altruism, I'm not an altruistic guy. What these people need to do is pay me, and I'll give them the medicine. And option 3 is you're neither transactional, neither are you a altruistic person. You're just a hoarder, and you're just gonna say, "This is all mine." And if you want it, you gotta fight for it.
Right, but I guess my example is I'm saying my only challenge is like you're saying you're making a morality that's based on like us not having modern medicine, and my example is that we do. So again, if we have in the example I have an infinite amount of penicillin. Yes, according to nature, if you have a severe bacterial infection, you will die if I don't intercede. But then that does the fact that I have that modern medicine at my disposal gives me that moral ought that I ought to intercede, right? I guess that's my point. In the same way that if we can induce a pregnancy and have and we're pushing back the viability line to like 25 weeks or something, like it's getting a little crazy how far back we can push it.
You're making an ontological claim, correct?
I'm making many, but what specific one?
The one on ought to. We ought to help. We ought to protect.
Well, that's not an ontological claim, but sure, that's a moral claim.
Okay, So why do we have? Why do we ought to? What is the reasoning behind that? We're obligated to do so.
Well, I don't, because I guess I don't know. I mean, this might punt into morality. Do you disagree with my example? If I have infinite penicillin, don't you think I have a moral ought
Yeah, Dan's always
to
quiet,
to
though,
give it
so
to you if
don't worry
you're
about that.
dying
It's
of
not
a
because-
very treatable infection?
It's not a question of personal disagreement. What I'm trying to establish is the reasoning behind that ought. I'm trying to establish. Okay, let me give you an example. A quick hypothetical. Let's just say that this ravishing illness has hit all the world, and there's only one type of medicine, and there's only enough for 60%, meaning that 40% will die inevitably. But out of that 60%,
I had to relaunch again. But I disabled the thing in Chrome, so it should no longer be able to do it. All right. Oh my God, we're back again. Okay. Okay, I think we're Gucci. Appreciate you guys helping me. And Alex, that setting I think just fixed Chrome from doing it, so I think we're good. Seems like it's always picking up some audio also. No, it's fine. I was dealing with some audio issues, and I think I finally resolved them. So, but go ahead. Oh shit! Sorry guys. Okay, interesting.
Thing that's making me
Okay.
non-virtuous. I don't think I'm being aligned with God in that moment. So therefore, I think I'm doing something
You guys can hear
morally
them now, right?
wrong, and therefore I derive a moral ought that I ought to save you, especially given that there's no consequence to myself. Because in the example, I have an infinite source of penicillin.
just so be clear, I'm a pragmatic, I'm a skeptic, and first and foremost, I'm a subjectivist in many ways.
So what's your meta ethics actually? Then, if I can ask. seeing as I
My-
showed you mine, it's only fair. I
Yeah,
show you
sure.
mine, you show me yours. You know,
Well,
in a normal way.
my
Kinky.
meta-ethics is applied ethics mainly. Then
That's not really a meta ethic, though. Like
I-
that's
you
not your
can utilize-
foundational. Applied ethics is like how you apply your
Yeah,
ethics. But what's your
yeah.
actual ethical framework? Like, are you consequentialist, utilitarian,
I'm a mixture. between
deontological, Kantian, loser? You know,
I'm a mixture of pragmatic, skeptic, and subjectivist.
I don't
So
think
I
either of
utilize-
those are meta ethical positions, though.
Yeah. Pragmatic is one of the major schools in the ethical sense. The schools of objectivism or either subjectivism is mainly a.
Those are like ontological. Am I
ethical-
crazy? Those are like ontological and epistemological things. But like, how does being a pragmatic skeptic tell you like what moral oughts you have?
Because I don't function. One of the major ones would be then I apply normative, because then I look at.
But where do you get the normative ethics? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where do you get them? You want to apply them, you have to get them normatively from somewhere. Where are you gaining those normative ethics?
In my case, since my major is law and linguistics, the major area of where I obtain that normative is the structure of rule of law through the constitutional means.
You got it fucking ass backwards. Law is supposed to be derived from morality. We're not supposed to look at the fucking Magna Carta and be like, oh, what does that tell me about what moral oughts I have? It goes the opposite way. Law is supposed to be based on our moral framework, right?
It sounds like he's
on that, actually,
it sounds like he's saying it's like aggregated from his like learned experience, right? Like, which is
yeah.
a reasonable thing.
So
It's reasonable,
Yeah,
but
let
it's just definitionally not axiomatic, I guess.
Let
It's
me-
definitionally
let-
not a meta-ethical framework, I guess.
Wait,
is
why
the
not?
We're looking
problem.
for the
Wait,
foundation,
just because it's not like one of the
just
because it's not one of like the big four or whatever you list. Like why do we have to give you like one of those labels? Like, who gives a fuck, right?
Because it's not
Because he asked
axiomatic.
him.
That's the thing. And
So-
he's asking me for where I get my moral oughts. I think it's only fair I ask him back. But I'm getting
I'm
like
explaining what happens is
some subjective so basically a type of emotivism, which I've told Ryan to like look up. I don't know if you did your homework, Ryan, or not. 'Cause
I have not.
think
I haven't
you are.
dug into it.
No,
I
mean,
just
you
don't.
really
I just
have
don't
to.
care that much. You know, I don't feel the need to. Like the way I
The man doesn't
configure.
care about ethics.
Well, I mean, the
shocked
way I like
second
configure
time.
morality isn't like based in like needing like some particular framework to do it. Like I feel like that part of the human experience is engaging with moral conundrums. I mean, it might help in framing them, but like I don't know that any of them
Do you think
like
that's why
committing to
maybe
anyone is going to
sometimes
change
you
anything.
might come to like wrong moral conclusions? Like if you haven't gone deep enough to like realize what your moral axioms are, that maybe that puts you in kind of a subjectivist land where you just kind of like latch on to like this feels right, this feels right, this feels right. And
That's what I'm saying. I think that like Christians, for example, I think they feel that the right thing to do is to outsource their morality to the Bible. Right, I think they feel that they're emotionally driven. They're emotionally driven to outsource their morality to allow that to make decisions for them instead of their own internal.
You don't think that could also be a logical choice, like a fundamental choice that if you do logically believe that the Bible is like handed down from God, then I don't think you need emotions to be like.
What do you mean
well, this is where
logically
I'm gonna
believe the Bible was
source-
handed down from God? That sounds like a gut feeling, right? Like, isn't like faith in a key part of believing in God, like having faith that
Right,
He exists despite the evidence not showing it?
I guess choosing to believe something or truly sincerely thinking something is true is not the same as having an emotional response to something, right?
Well, actually, I mean, I may be real quick. I may be in the. I'll let you after I say this because this is going to be a controversial one. But I think like logical, in a lot of ways, like logic is kind of rooted in like a gut feeling about like what you can conceptualize. But go ahead, Ditso.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to address two things real quickly, Confluence. In the matters of what you said about law emanating from moral, we have to take in consideration that law is always two steps behind what's moral. That is an axiomatic reality of how legality functions. And one of the problems that legality has is that while it catches up to that morality, it then you have the conditions of I'm going to give you a best example. You have the conditions where, for example, in my country, they made illegal the IVF technique using the same reasoning that they made abortion illegal.
Right.
And my people
Based?
came and said, no, hold on. My people came and said, no. We took it to the courts. We went all through the courts up to the Constitutional Court. And when all that failed, since we're part of the Pacto San Jose, we took it to the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. And that we kicked their asses because what we were able to establish is that the application or the idea of right of life applied to pregnancy is not in accordance with the normative of international law on matters of human rights.
This is an insane. I just want to say this is an insane thing to brag about. It sounds like you have a lot of death on your actual hands, like for real, in like a unironic way. So like you've been legislatively successful, but like to do a grievous amount of harm, in my opinion.
Wait, is he? I missed the first part. He's like doing, like helping women get the right to an abortion. Is that the? Yeah,
and in many, and he said, I don't know what he said, 12 countries, trying to get rights to abortion to be legally accepted and doing all.
Would you agree that like by those women's standard, right, by all the women who are seeking an abortion and who are granted one because of work that Ditso might have done for them, they would see it as a moral good, right?
Well, sure. If Ditso, let's say I really wanted to infanticide some children, like 2-year-olds. And then Ditso was like, making it so I could legally do that. Someone who really, let's say I want to do that, I'd be very happy. I'd be like, oh, thank God, I can now unalive all these children. That's what I always wanted to do. That's my destiny, right? So I'd be happy with that. Yeah. So, but that doesn't say whether.
I mean, use that example kind of glibly, but you do view abortion as infanticide, but like obviously like the thing that people are pushing for is to have the right to decide whether or not they carry it to term. Like that's what they're fighting for, and it's supporting them in that fight.
Right, but I guess I was just responding to your thing, right? Like it's just because the woman would say, "Oh, this is did so good of a job," then it's like it doesn't really mean anything. There's a lot of people that want bad outcomes in the world, and helping those people. Yeah,
well, it means something. It means something that we have an issue where we have this reality where there are millions of women around the world who are pregnant and don't want to be, and we have to deal with that. Like this is like there aren't this many people who just like they want to run around and like stab people in the face with no consequences. I think like.
So is it an issue of like amount? Like there are a lot of guys that want to be able to like go and like do untoward things to women. I mean, we've seen that since like the Me Too movement. It had good things, it had bad things. There's a lot of guys that are like, I can't fucking sexually harass my coworker anymore. That's not fair. How am I supposed to like find a wife? Right? There's a lot of people that are kind of on that side of things, and it's like that's not a good thing.
That also contends with people's bodily autonomy, right?
Yeah, so does this. The bodily autonomy of the body inside your body. Like
yes.
a little fucking
and those bodies have I agree. Those bodies have competing interests.
Okay, that's fine. But Ditso is saying that they are to him as of nothing. He said it's absurd to even talk of the morals of something inside the womb. Even 9 months. Ditso, tell me if I'm wrong. Please tell me, because I want to be wrong.
Let me and it's I want to address on this. You asked me about my after I asked you about your where you derive that your moral,
he kind of has a point considering like framework. What is it like 1 in 5 women
when I started speaking about
experienced rape or attempted rape, so
you could label me in the sense of a pragmatic, skeptic, subjectivist approach towards the ethics schools.
But he is weird.
That I incline myself more into the normative elements into that sense. There's something that may blow your mind, but
I'm ready. My mind's ready to be blown.
About my dialectical way, my personal dialectical way, the way I structure myself into my reasoning, into my logic, into the way I do my own personal framework, is that one thing I've worked since pretty much when I started on mid school, high school, and going to the classes of philosophy, learning the classics, yada yada yada, is that I came to the conclusion that for me as an individual, I had to eliminate belief from my dialectical process, and I've come to the conclusion that belief is the weakest form of dialectical expression. In what way? belief is the delusion of wanting to have that faith about something regardless of any proof. And I'm not that. I need proof. I need evidence. I need facts. I need a good structure to understand the reality, and particularly because that also comes from my heritage, the heritage of Latin America as well as the United States. You share that heritage in that sense. When we analyze the last 534 years of history, and particularly divided between the last 300 and then the last 250 years, what that represented to freedom, to liberty, to the structures of the republic, to the conquering of the invasion of the Europeans here, all those type of historical facts. So I feed from that in order to realize, shit, the idea of civil rights and human rights are there to minimize.
Well, I agree with you on that they're not pro-life, which is why when I came in, I said I'm pro-life and that I support robust welfare systems and women's right to an abortion.
Okay, but if I can kind of interject here, it's like you're decrying, faith and belief and all this stuff, and that's fine. Okay, so you want evidence, you want logic, you want all this stuff. But then it's not like you're trying to philosophy bro me at the same time. It's like when I ask you about like where you get your ethics from, you kind of just stop at a certain point. You're like, well, I look to the law and I kind of like vibe it out. But then it's like if you're like so about like anti-belief, anti-faith, and you just want the logic, then why not go deeper to like get to the root of what your own like meta-ethical position is? Like why is anything a moral ought? Why aren't you just a nihilist? Why care about any human life? Why care about any human rights? Like it feels like for someone who wants this whole like logical facade or to be seen logically, or someone who values logic, that's like why not go to the foundation and like build up? Why are you just like punting into like the legal system and the vibes and all that stuff?
Well, in order to be able to have that moral background, I consider one of the major tools to understand is human history, particularly the process of the last 12,000, 25 years of human civilization. The construction of those, how did it happen? Why those decisions? Why did we have the Hammurabi codes? Why Justinian, the Emperor Justinian, did the codex in regards of the laws of Rome when the time that he came, knowing what happened prior to Justinian in the matters of law? Or, for example, if we go to the most basic elements of everything, let's be real. All the social constructions that we're talking about, philosophy, legality, existentialism, nihilism, whatever you want to go for, at the end, all of that is because the events of history and the things we have lived as humans has forced us to sit down and say, and I'm sorry to say it in the most colloquial, down-to-earth position, what the fuck are we doing and what can we do to do it better?
Confluence, before I get in on this, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you don't like what I'm saying, do I still get some of that penicillin?
I mean, almost certainly, yeah, but it really depends what you say. Like it would have to be pretty bad for me to deny you the penicillin. There probably is something you could say where I'd be like, no penicillin for you. But
well, can I just throw out? It sounds like from Ditso, what Ditso's outlining is that perhaps there's other plausible paths to exploring morality than like getting a PhD in philosophy.
There is, but I'm saying if you're going to be the kind of person that's like, I reject faith and belief and I reject all that stuff and I only want to be focused on logic, then go back to the fucking logical axioms and then fucking build a moral framework, right?
What logic?
I don't know.
Which logical axiom? What do you mean by that?
That's what I did.
Like go back to some like go back to what the root is. If you end up with nihilism, I mean, I'm not a nihilist, but at least it's okay, that's fine. That's a fair conclusion. You look at the world, you go back to anything, you see no reason for any moral oughts at all.
This just sounds like why can't we like this? This all sounds like a lot of work. Like why can't I just sit here and turn this
really
all on its
not a
head.
lot of work.
Turn this all on its head and say, hey, what's your justification for using the law to force women to stay pregnant against their will? Like, how do you justify that? Walk us through it.
Well, let me explain it like this. If you're building a house of experiences, but you have no foundation up under it, then how do you know your experiences aren't just arbitrary choices that you made?
I don't know. I don't care. Maybe they are. I can live with that. Go ahead. Confluence, do you want to engage with the question?
Well,
Good.
Just real quickly. Isn't everything we do arbitrary as humans?
Directly hits.
Well, not if you have a foundation.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
one
not
at
if
a
you think
time,
God
one at a
told you.
time.
Not if you think the creator of the universe gave you instructions, right? If you're like schizophrenic.
Okay, one at a time. I think Big Soda, that was a good question, and I understand that Ryan doesn't want to answer it right now, but eventually.
Well, I think all of this
Let's
is like
hope he
distracting,
does.
right? Like you guys aren't engaging with the reality that right now there are women whose lives are at risk. We have the maternal mortality rate rising in states like Texas while it's dropping nationally, right? Like, and you guys don't want to talk about this. You want to talk about weird philosophical grounding bullshit, and it's all avoidant. Like it's all just avoidant panic mode.
I'm answering. Ditso asked me my metaphysical framework and stuff, and I was responding, and I asked him his. You know, there's no distraction. We can talk about maternal things. I think maternal mortality has gone up, but you know what I think
In
has
Texas
also gone
specifically.
up is baby survivability has gone up, right? If you include baby to mean fetus, which, you know, and so I think it's like you said, Ryan, competing interests. Okay, so yeah, it's not like I don't care about maternal mortality, but I also care about the lives of infants, right? So from your
you
own
care
logic
more
of
you care more about
competing
making
interests-
sure that babies are born, even if the mother does not want to carry them to term. You care more about that than you do some excess, like an increase in women dying who might have otherwise been able to avoid that.
Yeah, I mean, to
Let
be
me
honest,
ask a hypothetical-
just own that. Yeah, that's fine.
I want to answer.
I mean, I think it's reprehensible, but
My stance would be like, yeah, like it depends on the ratio, right? If let's say 10 women die and only you get one fetus that ends up coming to term, that so like the overturn of Roe v. Wade, let's say it only for every one fetus it makes 10 women die. I would say, yeah, that's not worth it. You're killing 10 women for one. So
well, that's some really bad news for you, because the national rate of abortion has not gone down since these states implemented abortion bans. However, the maternal mortality rate in these states has gone up. So actually, that trade-off is not leaning in your favor.
I'd have to see stats on that, I guess.
Let's do it.
Guys, I have a
Because I almost see. Wait. Sorry. Before you go, sorry. I know. So, Futoy. I don't know how to say your name. I've been cutting you off, so I'll let you go in just a second. But like, to me, yeah, I want to see stats because logically that doesn't really check out, because we know what percent of like people commonly will die from like maternal incidents, and so it's like I don't see how, if the abortion is illegal, most of those babies would be brought to term normally, right? Like, I mean, the left is the one always pointing out that like abortions are done in the first trimester, right? They're done, and most of them are done for like financial reasons, other reasons. So how is it that if we banned abortion, we're going to get more maternal mortality, even though we know the main reason for abortion happens in the first trimester with no problems, when it's like financial and personal reasons? It's not about the life of the fetus. It's not about the mother's health. That we know that from stats. It's mostly that it's just a personal preference, not to undermine that. You know, people have real mental issues, real physical issues, right? But it's like I don't see how those two stats could be true that you're telling me at the same time. Like something has to be off.
You can't see why there might be more difficulty seeking out abortion when it's starting to become a medical issue in states that are banning abortion?
I see that, but I don't see how on the other. So that is true. You're going to have more maternal death. I'm saying, how does that not also, if let's say 80%, don't know the number, but let's just pretend 80% of abortions are done for purely financial and personal reasons that does nothing to do with the health of the mother, and now you make all abortions illegal, then both of those numbers are going to rise. But because this is 80% and this, let's say, is 20% for the life of the mother, you're going to get a lot more kids that would have been aborted that are now brought to term, right? Just logically.
So here's how it makes sense, right? The abortions that were going to happen, the earlier abortions, those are still happening. People are getting abortion pills. People are traveling out of state. This is still happening.
Okay, well, that's why we need to make it illegal in every state. You know what I mean?
No.
Fair enough.
So what you're saying is you're looking at Texas's specific stats, but then you're saying that people are just going.
So you want the maternal
outside
mortality rate to go up in every state, is what you're saying?
only if the fetus immortality rate. That's not the right word.
I have a super chat that's a good question for you.
Goes up higher.
So Alexander Wren for $9.99 says, I'd love to know, do they think the mother or the 20-week fetus is more important to save? I am also very curious about this.
Okay, first of all, W.
I think it's
Alex.
I think it's
W. Alex for your
irrelevant because
chat.
I mean I would rather save my child than someone else's child.
It's,
But that
I mean,
doesn't.
you can avoid
that
answering the
doesn't
maybe
skew
Confluence
the
will actually
value
answer
of
the question.
of the
Like,
individual.
sounds like Big Soda doesn't want to answer the
Can
question.
I-
Confluence, do you want to engage with it?
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on, right. In regards of that point, I'm going to make a hypothetical. There's a building, 2 rooms, it's on fire. Room A has artificial wombs with different stages of that pregnancy, embryo, fetus, different stages of that. And on the other room, you have birth children, but you can only save one. Which one will you save and why?
Yeah, I'm not. So I don't know if this is the normal pro-life thing. This is my thing, and then I do want to hear Alex's question again because I do want to answer that as well. But just to say your thing briefly, I'm not someone. I don't think a zygote has the exact same moral importance as someone who's like a 13-year-old child, right? Like I don't think those things are the exact same. So I do think if I was. Now it gets into some weird like trolley-esque problems, and this is where morality does get messy. Where it's like if it's like 3 babies and like 10,000 fetuses, then it's like there's a certain number. But yeah, like in real life, if I walk in and there's like some eggs sitting there, 2. Let's make it simple. Let's say there's 2 embryos and there's like 1 alive child. That's like then yeah, I'm gonna grab the child. Okay, so this is where the virtue ethics comes in. This is, can I justify that? No, I think there's like a sliding, I can in a way, but not in a full way. I think there's a sliding scope of moral worth. So I guess to put it simply, I think it's worse to have a 3rd trimester abortion than it is to like take the morning after pill. I mean, it depends how the morning after pill is defined, but assuming it's like going to be abort efficient and it's going to like stop implantation or otherwise end the life of a zygote. I think if you're going to do an abortion, I think it is morally better to do it early on. So I do think of infanticide, like Ryan said, I would call it all infanticide, and I would, but I do think killing a 2-month-old baby, I do think is worse than killing like a 6-month-old fetus. I don't know. I don't know if like that's the standard pro-life thing. That's just my point of view. I do think there's a sliding scale.
I
of
got
moral
you another
worth.
question real quickly.
Let us know when I can
You have
get
2 individuals.
and say something.
You have 2 individuals. Yeah, let me ask this, and I'll give it to you. Sorry, Troy. I get passionate on
No,
this.
I got you,
apologize.
Alex.
So, and I tend to take over control. I tend to take a lot of time speaking because English is my second language. So I
I
apologize.
understand that. No, that's
Let me
fair.
quickly
No need to
throw this.
apologize.
Let me throw this to you. You have 2 people. One of them well dressed, tie, all the stuff, etc. And the other guy is dressed like me. How do you determine which is the one who's going to defraud you?
Who's going to defraud me?
How do you make that judgment call over somebody that you do not know? And how do you make that judgment call in relation to just the optics of it?
Okay, I don't know where you're going, but I will answer the question sincerely. Yeah, I think we make stereotypes. Some of it's based on anecdotes, some of it's based on statistics that we know. And so, yeah, some guy, if there's like 5 people walking, and I have to pick a side of the road, and there's 5 people walking in suits and like 5 people dressed like gangsters, and I have to choose one, I'm probably gonna like go past the suit people. Now, that's just going off my personal experience. It's going off what I know of statistics and like wealth and crime ratios. And so, yeah, so I would make some type of stereotypical. I could be wrong. All the 5 people in suits, serial killers. Now I'm dead, but that's how I make the decision.
Usually,
right?
when I teach this, I add, okay, you gave me that answer. Now you have a pew on your hands, and you are obligated to decide which one is the defroster and which one is not.
So mad
and
right
you
now.
have to pew the defroster, and you have to choose.
Yeah, then it's like, to me, that's like a Sophie's choice kind of question at that point. Like when it comes down to something like that where I'm going to be doing harm to somebody, then yeah, I'd almost have to like toss a coin mentally in my head or do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like I don't think I'd have like a moral justification to like decide on that in that case.
Okay.
So to end that point is, then why are we deciding for women what is for their lives as if they were considered at that stage the defroster? Why are we
I'm not. So help me connect these dots. I don't see how the previous. I was following you with the hypotheticals, but I don't see how that connects.
Yeah,
to
he'll
what
let
you're
you in,
saying
Joey.
now. I'm not sure.
In simple terms, the hypothetical, the line of hypothetical was to demonstrate that the judgment over somebody else's decisions by simply appearance or by simply the internal judgment that one may have regarding that person based off stereotypes and other forms of prejudice is not sufficient to then justify restricting or taking away the rights of those individuals.
Right, but I would say this. Yeah,
It's an
I don't
interesting
think
point.
that is. I don't think that's incongruent with at all what my stance is. I'm not using like stereotypes or any type of like snap judgment to decide like if the question is like mother dies or baby dies, then sure, but like that's not what
Okay,
we're
cool.
talking
Because
about.
that is actually what Alexander asked about, right? And so he said specifically, "I'd love to know, do they think the mother or the 20-week fetus is more important to save?" So you can only save one. So the burning we can put in the burning building
Sure.
example, right? There's a 20-week fetus in one room, and there's the mother of that 20-week fetus. Somehow they've been separated, and you can only save one, right? Who do you save?
Yeah. The mother, unquestionably.
Awesome. Okay.
But it's not. I'm not. But by that, I just want to say it's not that I think the 20-week-old is not morally valuable.
I
It's
agree.
that, yeah, I do put a degree. There is a degree, and that ties into the virtue ethics. I think we all kind of know that there is something that feels worse about infanticide, and that is a bit of emotivism, right? Of that, I am using my intuition, my emotion to judge that, and I think there is value in that too, because I think we are, we are made in God's image, not to get all like religious, and that's my personal point of view. So I think some of our moral intuitions, right, make sense. So it's like there's a reason that even though so abortion, I think bad, but yeah, killing a 2-month-old child is like you're an actual monster at that point, right? Like, and I do think there's a reason that we think that. I don't think it's just like a stereotype thing. I think there's actually like a true moral intuition that we're tapping into, that we know it will make us worse, it will make the world worse. But from a virtue ethicist point of view, we know it'll make us worse if we take out that 2-month-old baby. And the same if we kill that mother, you're gonna make yourself worse. Yeah. Okay. So sorry, Futo. How do I say your name? First of all, how do I say your name?
Futoy.
Futoy. Okay.
Right. So I just have one request to let me get it all out, because each one of you is going to have a problem with a different part of what I'm going to say.
Okay.
All right.
And I'll decide at the end if I'll give you the penicillin. Okay. I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
I'm playing for that penicillin.
Yeah.
Right. So I am pro-life, 100% pro-life. All right.
Based.
But there's a huge caveat. All right. When it comes to abortion, all I have is an opinion. Right. And you know what they say about opinions. Right. The only people who should have a choice in the abortion topic is the mother and the father, as long as it was a consensual coupling. Right? Because they are the ones with the dog in the race. Nobody else. It's their body. They made the mistake. They have the moral choices to make here. Not us. We have an opinion, sure. We have an opinion, you know? And my argument for pro-life is, do each one of you agree that you have the right to be here on this planet? The right to exist? What if you were that mistake that needed to be aborted? Right? That doesn't go down so well in that case, right? For pro-abortion. You could have not been here. You could have been aborted.
Okay, if I can jump in with a clarifying thing, because I don't like the first thing you said. I'll still give you the penicillin, though, brother. Okay, I still got your back. I'll still you're alive in my books. Okay, but my main problem is that you're saying like who is it to decide besides the mother and the father?
Yes.
But I guess why does that change? I guess once the baby is born in that moment, it's still the mother and father. They have the duty to raise that child. So then if the mother and father agree together to immediately, as soon as that baby's born, to just, euthanize it, then do I not get a say in that? Can I not say, no, I want to protect what I see as a unique person that I want to protect? And so
you get an opinion, but it's her body. It's that man's child.
Wait. Hold on. Maybe you didn't hear my question, or if you did, that's crazy. And maybe I'll only give you half a dose of penicillin now because
Oh,
I'm not sure. Like,
Oh,
okay,
that's good.
what I said, okay, so they have the baby already, but now they're the ones that are legally entrusted to care for it. It is still their baby. They
Great
made
question,
the baby,
Alex. I'll ask
okay?
you that in a moment.
Right?
Right.
And so, but if the mom wanted to kill the baby,
It's
or if
pinned,
the dad
Joey.
did, let's
It's,
say they
if you look
both
at the top of the
agree,
chat,
I want to kill
it's
this
pinned there.
baby, I want the police to absolutely kick down their door, shoot both of them, not necessarily, but like at least arrest them, and if a shootout happens, it happens, but like, and take that baby away. Cause I would say, yeah, I want to protect that baby. I don't give a shit that they were the ones who made that kid. I still want a legal say. I want to be able to vote to say that, yeah, police can stop infanticide. So I don't know if we're talking past each other. Like, are you just saying like once it exits the womb, then it's fine for me to not just have an opinion, but to have like a legal justification to do this?
So what I'm saying is that, right, in these situations, right, we're looking for a solution.
Oh, here.
Right, and we
I'll
have
just
to
post
keep
it again.
all the points at face value, right? So it's the woman's body. She has the right to do what she wants with her body. Yes, she is carrying a fetus, right? It's that the man has helped create that fetus.
Also,
So they're the ones who have the skin in the game.
But you're okay, but you're
You know,
not.
all
You're
you
not.
have-
Maybe you're getting
all
to it,
you
but
have-
you're not. I just hope you will end up answering my question. If they're in a room alone, and let's say they have an infinite supply of vitamins and food, so they've never left that room. They get pregnant, they give birth. I would still say, I think, I do have a right, at least once the baby's born, right, to come in and stop them from killing it, even though it's not my monkey, not my circus from one point of view, right? Like it's they were two people, there are two bodies, one grew a body, and now it's still a body, and that new
Yeah, I
body,
get
the
that.
baby is
I
fully
agree with
dependent.
you.
I would call
I agree
that
with you.
infanticide, and I would say we should all protect
The
that.
minute- I agree with you. I probably even more so than you believe that the minute the sperm hits the egg, that's a person. There you go. That's life.
No, but that's not what I'm asking. No, that's not what I'm
I
asking.
mean, it's life technically, but-
You're not listening. You're not listening. So you the life isn't
True
just
bone
after
stuff.
it exits the female body. It's before. So it's the minute the sperm hits that egg.
I agree
and
with
what
you.
happens? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you on that point. But you have to keep in mind the other aspects, that it's her body. You don't have the right to tell her what to do with her body.
But you're
just
still
like
not
you don't have the
answering.
right to tell you what to do with your body.
Frutoy, I want you to answer my specific question I'm asking. I'm saying, yeah, okay, it's her body. There's a baby that you think is a life growing inside it. I'm saying there are two people in a room. They give birth now, and they decide collectively. It's none of my business, right? They decide collectively they want to smother that baby. Do I now have the right to burst Kool-Aid Man style into that room and
Yes,
save
you do.
that baby?
Yes, you do. I know
Why?
where you're going with this. I
Why,
know where
though?
you're going
I can
with
tell you
this.
why. I don't.
Because
Okay, go ahead.
it's
Fatima.
out of her body. It's not her body anymore. It's not. It's
Yeah, it's
her
not dependent on her organs anymore specifically, and she can always put it up for adoption. Also, at that point, she can't do it. She can't put it up for adoption while it's still inside her, right?
Yeah. What
Can I touch
Constance
real
is
quick
trying to say is
before-
Okay, do we know
can be
Angelica
filed-
Diallo?
Yes,
Ryan?
yes, she's good. But also
well-
right before Jelly absolutely destroys everybody, I want to Alex posted another $9.99. I really appreciate it, and he said great answer to that specific dilemma between the mother and the child. So great answer. Now, if you put the fetus in the mom and the mom's going to die without an abortion, how certain does that risk of death have to be for you to allow a doctor to act?
Yeah, that is the crux of the issue. And I agree, that's a incredibly difficult question. I don't know. First of all, it's not like we know the percents is the problem. But we can't say any percent, because some pro-life people will say this, but actually, fun fact, there has been like five ectopic pregnancies that have actually been born. Or it could be less than, but there has been a non-zero amount of ectopic pregnancies that have very few, but that have implanted in the fallopian tubes that have been born. There's like a handful. It's like less than 5. Okay, it's happened, and so it's like but that's like such a 0%. That
But
so
you
no,
see,
I
like-
agree. Like I agree, we would in that sense. Yeah, I would say the risk to the mother is so high. Even if there is I'm not one of those pro-lifers. That's like as long as there's any chance. The chance, like it's hard to that. It is a good question what Alex asked. It is a good question. I don't have a specific number, right? It's like maybe I would throw like 35% if the mom's gonna die, right? But I don't know. Like I could be swayed. If it's like a 1% the mom's gonna die, then it's one of the. It's kind of like a paradox of the heap in a way, where it's like 1% the mom's gonna die. I'd be like, no. But if it's like, then like 37%, right, then I'd be
Yeah,
like,
so
okay,
here's
that's
what
enough.
I would ask you to consider. Number one is, and also Alex put another 999. So if you don't mind, I would love to answer the next one. So sorry, yeah. I would ask you to consider like the fact that women, let's say at first trimester, or mid second trimester, they don't know whether or not in the third trimester they're going to be one of those women who is in a life-threatening or somewhat life-threatening, or just not even life-threatening, but like body, like drastic injury situations, right? They don't know early on whether or not they're going to be in that situation. And so when you ban those people from accessing abortion, you are also asserting that they must be required to find out whether or not they're going to be in one of those situations later on.
Before you answer anything, two real quick facts. The majority of 90% of miscarriage happens within the first trimester. Ectopic pregnancy happens between 12th and 14th week. Normally, it can be a little bit later, it can be a little bit before, depending on the woman's body constitution, etc., etc., etc. But variably, the standard is anywhere between the 12th and 14th week, about that time frame. Just to take that into consideration in regards to the two questions that were asked by one of the members of Ryan.
Just Ryan, just on your point now, just so I can look at your point. Right, so you're pro-abortion.
Well, now, I'm pro the right to an abortion. I actually want to reduce abortion through access to contraception and better sex ed.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to pee real quick. Big Soda, you're in charge. Ryan, you're second. Ditso is third. Yeah, you're fourth. Yeah.
I'll ask your other question when he gets back.
So you end up being fourth.
But thank you again.
You all get penicillin now. Penicillin for fucking everyone. Okay, sound off.
I don't want your fucking penicillin.
So Ryan, see, that's the thing. You kind of figured out where I was going with this. So not every abortion is equal. So you have ones where somebody's life's in danger. You have one where it's just not wanted. You have one where it's maybe prostitution. You have one where just the woman just was free for sex and doesn't want to use contraceptives and is having babies and has the option just to abort it whenever she wants. Where is there some sort of line that can be drawn? Is there like a necessity abortion be okay, but not a non-necessity abortion be not allowed? Maybe.
For me,
first.
Okay, go ahead.
Quickly, Futori. That's why I gave the example of the two individuals. One of them dressed like me, the other dressed on a tie. Which one do you decide is the froster? And then I added the pew because at the end, what you are saying is that. How we should regulate
enough,
that.
I like
is either
bragging about the support though.
A objective fixed form or a flexible form of legislation that says, in this particular case, respond this way. In this particular case, and if you have this particular evidence in regards of why that woman is deciding to abort, you may proceed on this particular way. So if we have a flexible, approach, then we can attend the different circumstances. And just to add, real quickly, the first point you said, we agree. That's the basis of freedom, the essence of constitutional liberal constitutions. No one over me and I over no one. As long as I don't harm anybody, nobody harms me, we're good.
Right, but it's not that easy. It's never that black and white, though, is it?
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that that's the essence. And on the second part, that you said, why do we keep on wanting to judge over the woman's life as if in the example I gave, it was the 100% all the time the defroster.
What do you mean by defroster? Sorry.
Talking about defrosting embryos or like what did I miss?
No, the froster, the fraud.
Oh, fraudster.
Fraudster.
Example like game. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, right, fraudster. Yeah. I have a kind of a different example of that, right? So you're on a pier. There's two people drowning. They're both equal. They're twins, in fact. There are no differences. But you can only save one. How do you make the choice to say which one to save? right? So this is one of those dilemmas, right? But the I suppose the most logical answer is you save the one that your strongest swimming arm is on that side. So the one with the most chance to save, you save, right? So you're right-handed, so you're going to save the one on the right because you're more guaranteed to save that life than the left-hand one. Because that's the only choice you can make. There's nothing else to go on, right? So same with your decision, right? Yeah, you have to do something. You cannot just stand there in the pier and say, "I can't choose, so I'm not going to save anybody." Right?
Let me
That's
throw
not
a
a right
wrench on that.
answer.
Philosophically, let me throw a wrench on that.
Sure.
I would assume that everybody here on this panel has been on a plane. Yes.
Yeah.
What
Plane of
is the first thing that they tell you if the cabin depressurizes?
The people screaming.
Are you talking about the mask thing where you're supposed to put it on yourself before you put it on the other guy?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here is something that I will
that's a great point,
throw
Alex. I'll leave that in as well.
regards of that metaethics. First thing you do in any situation in reality, as well as hypothetically, is save your own ass first so you can save somebody else.
I don't think that's a real wrench because the guy standing on the pier isn't in danger of anything, right?
But if he goes,
The choice
tries
is
to save that person, he may drown.
Yeah, he's putting himself at risk, right, to do something there.
Right. So the point of the dilemma is, how do you choose which one, and or do you do nothing and let them both drown? Well, obviously you're not going to let two people drown without trying to do something, right? Or you're going to stand there and go, "Sorry, I may drown."
If that means that,
Screw you guys.
if this whole
Do I get the
situation means
penicillin?
that I would add a third person drowning, and then instead of two people drowning, it's a third person drowning, and the third person is me.
Just say you're a really good swimmer. So you're going to stand on the pier and let two people drown, dude.
This is actually an interest. This kind of steers into another question that I have in my chat. That is ask them if they're okay with the laws causing doctors to not act and thus allowing the mother and the baby to die in situations where it's emergent, but the guarantee of death is not certain.
Okay, so it's the same sort of thing except with a doctor and a baby and a woman.
Yeah, and also this one, another thing that's different about this one is that it's happening right now in reality, unlike your example.
Right. Yeah, you have to say one. You can't let both die because of some bullshit.
I of course, but so, I'm trying to what I'm trying to get the I guess Confluence and Big Soda I guess to engage with is that this is what's happening in some cases in these states that have banned abortion, is that these laws are written in such a way that if the mother's life is not certainly in danger, right, and they may be in danger, right, so it's a possibility that she might die, the doctor can't act, and they just kind of have to wait and see what will happen.
Yeah, but I'm fine. I guess I think to me that's an easy answer to make. I'd be fine. Like if the laws aren't clear enough, I want them to be more clear. You know, I don't want a situation where like mom has a very high likelihood of death. So then, I think we should make those laws better. I'm fine with that.
Well, the best answer is I've seen examples, and so what specifically in the law prevented the hospital from enacting and engaging with the abortion? Like, what specifically in the law prevented that?
Also, we know Brandon. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And just real quickly, Futo,
nice setup, Brandon.
Yes,
good job.
There's some people that will allow the two people to drown.
That I can't deal with that. I can't deal with thinking there's people on this planet who would
let. I could argue the doctor did that.
I just can't handle that thought. Like,
well, isn't that what's happening? Like the doctor, and not only is the doctor doing that, like potentially letting two people drown, but the laws are written in such a way that they are unable to make that choice. So I guess the Confluence is saying,
I think in some cases they are misreading the laws, though. I think from some of the cases, I'm a bit out of date now, but from a few months ago, there's some Texas cases where it's like I think it was very legally clear that they could have terminated the pregnancy, and they were just like afraid. And so make the laws more precise, but also I think there was some like doctor malfeasance going on where it's like the law, I think, was clear enough in some cases I've seen to absolutely save the life of the mother.
Well, according to
My
Alex,
opinion.
who came in with another $9.99, I'm so thankful. Much love to Alex. It says
Alex,
these,
Alex, where's my love, brother? I thought we were friends.
Alex
Jesus.
says these laws are specifically this way. This is what he says. I think this is. I also share this sentiment. But these laws are specifically this way. It's intended to prohibit doctors from making choices because they may be civilly sued and lose their license. And this is the issue. In these states, a lot of them have opened up the door to allow people to file civil suits against anyone who transports a woman to get an abortion, or the doctor who's performing the abortion.
Well, can you provide an example of a state law that is actively hindering hospitals from engaging with an abortion?
Yeah, I would say Texas's 6-week ban after 6 weeks or whatever it is.
Do they have the medical clause that allows medical intervention with an abortion if the mother's life's in danger?
Yes, and I don't think it's very robust.
Well, I mean, if it specifically states that, then it seems like legally they're allowed to do that.
Well, what you're not understanding is that one of the hypotheticals that we're just talking about, which isn't really hypothetical, it's just kind of the reality, if you think about it for a second, right, is that there are people, women, who are in situations where they don't know, the doctor doesn't even know whether or not death is guaranteed, right? Their life may not really be their life may not really be in danger, but it seems like it could be, right? So there's this area that is it's a gray area under these laws that they don't allow for.
So a woman's life wasn't truly in danger, but she was still about to get an abortion, and the doctor couldn't decide on whether she should get an abortion because legally
they're having to not do it. They're being required to not do it, right? Because they can't guarantee that her life is in danger, but they think her life might be in danger. So they have to wait until the moment of certainty, where which is insane, right? This puts people in increasingly dangerous scenarios, which makes sense why we see a higher rate of maternal mortality in these states.
That's not what the law. Show me a law. Show me a law. And hey, if I'm wrong,
well,
I'm
let's pull up Texas's law. You're the host. Pull up the law.
I mean, hey, if you want to send it to me, brother, you're the one saying that. It says that you have to guarantee the mom is going to die.
You want to have a panel about abortion? You don't want to pull up the Texas law? Okay, I'll Google it for you. I'll send you the link. Also, thank you, Josh, for the $2.
Well, you know what? It sounds like conflict. It sounds like that law agrees with you, because what they're saying is that the fetus is just as important as the living mother.
That's insane. I thought I answered Alex, who is paying Ryan's entire rent right now. I thought I answered his question by saying I would save the mom versus the 20-week-old. I feel like I made a clear. I'm not one of those people that thinks everything is equal along the whole spectrum. I'm not one of those.
But hold on a second. What's the difference? This is your question. This is your question to us. Back to you. What's the difference between the fetus and the mother? Just because she's out of the body, out of the vagina, she's
no. I wouldn't say it. Nothing to do with temporal stuff. I think we do have to respect that there is a sliding scope, a sliding scale of developing human consciousness and things like memory and things like human experience. And so I think that a zygote is valuable. It is a human person. But I do think as you go higher up the scale, I think you become kind of more morally important for these types of questions. Right?
So Alex provides a clarifying $10 to say, no, her life is in danger. She's bleeding internally, but it's feasibly plausible that she might spontaneously stop bleeding internally. So this happens all the time. Any other circumstance, doctors would act. But I guess he's saying that according to the law, which I just posted the statutes. So this is the reality that doctors are having to deal with in Texas.
Well, that's a good one, Ryan. That's a real dilemma. It is a real dilemma.
I'm gonna go to the little coder's room while you guys sort it out.
Do you have a number for this, Ryan, by the way?
So real quickly, in support of what Ryan was saying, I just posted in the back chat an interesting article I read a while back as you guys were speaking. Ryan knows this about me. I'm extremely the guy who has so many sources and so many ways of I've been doing this for 20 years, so you can imagine. The title of the study is "Our Hands Are Tied: Abortion Bans and Has It in Medicine." This was published in Science Direct by Anne Grace Lilly and Isabel P. Newman and Sophie York James. So And this is reputable, scientifical source in that sense. And here it describes systematically that this abortion bans create the conditions for medical hesitancy in regards of when doctors are treating this particular patients, and it's something that it's something that is seen standardized. So the case of that was being presented to Brian through the chat in that sense, that's just one example. But being hesitant is something that becomes a necessity of survival for the medic, therefore reducing the quality treatment, therefore creating worsening conditions and more possible pushing those women not to a transparent on the board legal hospital, but on a clandestine one. So the problem is that, and here goes back again to this first initial conversation. The bottom line I always discuss on this is that I have no problem with people having their own personal moral positions. That's your purview. That's your right. You can have it. But where you see me really going out at it and my indigenous fury comes out is when those morals want to become a standard policy for everybody.
I did so. I want to legislate upon that. Yes, I want to legislate upon my moral views.
So I think we have a middle ground here, right? So
wait briefly. I just want to, Ryan, I don't know if I'm reading this crazily. I mean, what you sent me, this sounds goated. The person knew the risk of death or a substantial impairment of major bodily function. And it goes on to say, a physician may address a risk described by subsection B2 before the pregnant woman suffers any effects of the risk. So I don't know. I haven't read this whole thing, but like from what I'm just reading now, this seems like the law is actually like pretty well written. I think people are probably misunderstanding the law and are maybe being nervous, and maybe it could be more tightly defined. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but it seems like what I'm reading is like, it's not like it has to be like the woman's definitely about to die for real, and we know like 99.999% certainty. It's a guarantee, and only then can we abort. That's not what I'm reading in this, and this is what you posted me.
Let's see. For purposes
so I'm
of
just saying, if there's like some other subsection or something that I don't like,
whatever. Let's read it. Right. Let's read it.
You know, you're muted, Ryan. You're muted. Still muted.
Oh, I was muted for you guys. Sorry. I see. I wasn't muted for my chat. Okay. So I mean, let's read it. Right. Okay. So wait. Let's see. Where's the what's the specific line you're looking at? Was it?
Here I'll bring it up again. Okay. So I was reading like section 170A.002.
Wait, a physician may not take an action authorized under subsection B if at the time the abortion was performed, induced, or attempted, the person knew the risk of death or a substantial impairment of a major bodily function described by subsection B arose from a claim or diagnosis that the female would engage in conduct that might result in the female's death or in substantial impairment to a major. Is that the one you were just reading?
Well, no, it was mainly this one. It goes on to clarify, because I think the key point of this, that the female would engage in conduct that might result in death. And it goes on to clarify, for purposes of what we just read before, right? If a pregnant woman has a life-threatening condition described by subsection B2, a physician may address a risk described by subsection B2 before the pregnant female suffers any effects of the risk. So it's not like they have to be like, and this ties into what I think Missy was saying about like the heart medication stuff. It's not like they have to be at death's doorstep before you can do it, at least from what I'm reading.
Right. So it's about a level of confidence that they're going to be in that situation, right?
Right. I think that's a pretty fair standard, no?
So if it's uncertain, right? If it's uncertain that they're going to be in that situation, but it's possible, then suddenly this doesn't seem as clear cut.
Of course. I mean, every pregnancy on God's green earth has risk, right? Like every
Don't I fucking know it? Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get you to consider.
Yeah, I have considered that. I don't think that is relevant in. Sorry, my ad blocker just like fucking cucked me. Okay, I don't. Yeah, it's a that is what happens with pregnancy. Any pregnancy could lead to like preeclampsia, for example. Any pregnancy could lead to preeclampsia,
Sure.
which could be a life-threatening condition. That's a thing that I acknowledge, but that's different than being like what I think Missy had a chat from before, oh yeah, this one about, about heart medication. Yeah, I'm not saying, and I don't think the bill is saying this, right? It's not, there's a difference between a possibility of something happening, which would be any pregnancy, versus like, this is actually like a real thing that is like likely to happen, right? Those two things are just different, right? And I understand Alex's earlier chat that like if you put a confidence interval on it, it does become complicated, right? Like at what specific point does it edge on, But to me, that's not grounds to legislate to say, well, I guess because we can't know the exact amount, we can't put a precise percent on it, we can't have any laws that govern this. That would be absurd in any other area of law that we deal with. In any single other law, that would be absurd. We don't apply that.
That's not my argument
across the
for
board.
not having these laws, right? I have separate arguments for
But
why
then
I
you
think
would have
abortion should
no
be legal
laws.
broadly.
You would almost have literally no laws then, right? Like
I mean,
that's
I would
my
probably
point.
I'd be okay with regulation that made sure it was safe and like whatever like stuff around abortion can be regulated. I'm not opposed to
Can we
that.
not
So
come to a middle ground? Like, can we not say, like, for example, okay, abortion could be regulated for people with medical or moral reasons. Now, moral reasons, a 12-year-old gets raped and gets pregnant. Do you want her to go through that? And it's dangerous for her body, right? Or opposed to, so you're regulating it for that, but you're stopping it for women who are just careless, who don't care, who are just getting abortions left, right, and center.
Yeah, I think there is a middle ground. I'm not opposed. I don't know. I think all those cases, like the difficult cases of like rape and incest, it's like I think those I'm fine personally leaving to like a case by case basis, and it's complicated. But yeah, I would be fine leaving like kind of the moral weight on the parents. But for abortion, that is if you're going in and you don't have a medical thing. Let's say you go in for that first trimester and your only possibility is like, well, any woman could have preeclampsia. Yeah, to me, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Okay. If your main reason is financial harm and mental harm and stuff, then no, it's not.
Well, what if that financial harm all stuff is just part of it, and it's like, well, I also don't want to go through the process to find out whether I'm going to be one of those preeclampsia folks, right? Like, right? Why?
Then no, because the chances that you will have preeclampsia is already pretty low. The chances you're going to die from preeclampsia is incredibly low. But
it's certain that there are going to be some people who are seeking an abortion who then are refused it under your regulation that you're describing right now, who then go on to have this anyway.
Well, no, okay, and then at the point of preeclampsia, then you can evaluate again, and you could get an abortion at that point, right? It's only for Texan doctors being like afraid, and part of it maybe is due to the law not being specific enough, but a large part from what I've seen is like the law is pretty clear. You're not going to be like fucking liable. Like just
Alex with another $10 actually brings up that point exactly. So it says, Ryan, ask him to define substantial threat in this case and look at the penalty for failing to appropriately apply that as a doctor if the courts decide that it was not a substantial threat.
So in that line, and real quickly, because as you guys were speaking, I was listening, but I have the law right here in my hand. Can we look at section 1702A, particularly on subparagraph C1, where it tells us, and I quote, C1, for purposes of subsection B2, if a pregnant woman has a life-threatening physical condition described by subsection B2, a physician may address a risk described by subsection B before the pregnant female suffers any effects of the risk. Subsection B2 does not require that before the physician may act. Point 1, a risk described by subsection B2 be imminent. 2, the pregnant female first suffer physical impairment. 3, the physical condition has caused damage to the pregnant female. So basically what it's telling us on that point is the conditions to where the physician can act. And what it's telling us, bottom line, is wait till the bleeding and the pain is so much that you can't that's unavoidable. So in other words, have the woman suffer.
It's saying, am I insane? It's saying the exact opposite. It's saying subsection B2 does not require that. And then it gives 1, 2, and 3. A risk be imminent. The pregnant female first suffer physical impairment. The physical condition can cause damage to the pregnant female. It does not require that. It does not. It's not saying it does require it. It's saying the exact opposite.
The problem with that type of
W confluence.
No, I'm not sure about that. Hang on.
I mean, it literally said that.
I mean, read it from C1 down.
Okay, C1 down. Okay. For purposes of subsection B2, if a pregnant woman has a life-threatening physical condition described by subsection B2, a physician may.
Shouldn't we talk about B2 before we look at C1? If it's referencing B2?
I mean, yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay, B2. In the exercise of reasonable medical judgment, the pregnant female on whom the abortion is performed, induced, or attempted has a life-threatening physical condition aggravated by, caused by, or arising from a pregnancy that places the female at risk of death or poses a serious risk of substantial impairment of a major bodily function unless the abortion is performed or induced.
Okay, so that's the one it's actually referencing. So these are...
So risk of life, risk of bodily harm, okay? And then it says, for the purposes of life to the mother or risk of bodily harm to the mother, if a pregnant woman has a life-threatening physical condition described by subsection B2, a physician may address a risk described by subsection B2 before the pregnant female suffers any effects of the risk. Subsection B2 does not require that before the physician may act. And then it says a risk described may be imminent. So it doesn't require imminency. It doesn't require she suffers physical impairment. It does not require that the physical condition has caused damage to the pregnant female. Okay.
Yeah. So, so the dispute is then going to come in to whether or not like they can make the case strongly enough that that situation was going to happen if they didn't act, right?
They can legally do it without it requiring that.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, not without potential legal consequences, right? Like there likely would be investigations in these cases where there's any ambiguity at all, which I'm looking into court cases now. But
I mean, isn't there legal repercussions in any action done by a doctor?
Yeah,
well, I mean,
not
going
to cover his ass and say, look, let's wait till that woman is screaming in pain, so I can then justify that my action was.
It says the opposite, brother. It says literally the opposite. It says the opposite. It says they don't have to suffer physical impairment.
Yes, but Ditso's not saying. No, you're misunderstanding. You're misunderstanding Ditso. He's saying that the doctor, to avoid potential liability, because they don't know if they can prove up to the standard that this sets out that danger is going to happen, right?
Okay, so that's
a bad doctor.
That's an insane.
Okay, well you can say it's a bad doctor, but right now there are cases under these laws, right? Like that's what I'm digging into right now.
Those are doctors misreading the law. I mean, I think the law is pretty clear, and I'd be fine with it being even more clear. I'm not like tied to the law. I think if you want to add more precision, that's totally fine. Okay, but I would say those are doctors being like ultra cautious in a way that doesn't make sense. At least from the cases I know, where it's like I think the doctor and the hospital acted poorly. They were given a law and they were like hyper worried, but reading of the law, there's no reason to be hyper worried. And looking at it now, I don't see a reason to be super worried. It's not like like Disso said, they don't have to be like screaming in pain. They don't have to be up on death's door. None of those things that all y'all have been saying have been true in this law at all.
C2 would probably be something good to read as well.
Yeah.
It's related back to B2.
C2, for the purposes of subsection B2, life-threatening means capable of causing death or potentially fatal. A life-threatening physical condition is not necessarily one actively injuring the patient. Yeah, so this seems like pretty broad to me. This seems like pretty broad.
Exactly. So
broad in like the way that you would be like, oh, that's goated, like that kind of broad.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Because,
that the interpretation of the courts will always go towards the aspect of protecting right of life, and then the standard of proof that a doctor would have is extremely high to say, well, the condition of this person that was suffering was just on the starting stages, and somebody will look. It's not a
Okay,
question
so
of-
you're pivoting to the law. So now you actually don't. Funny enough, I feel like all of you really don't have much of a problem with the law as it's written. You're pivoting to like the interpretation of that law and what a court will actually decide.
My point has always been about the interpretation of the law. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying ditso. I mean,
I'm basing.
you kind of were saying the exact opposite of what this law said. I just want to point that out. The literal opposite.
What I'm saying is how this will approach through in particular courts, particularly in a country, in a place like Texas that has a more conservative leaning type of judges in that sense. But here's the other part of this whole thing. AAMC, the American Medical Association, in that sense, published October 22, 2024. Gives us a report.
Didn't AMC make The Walking Dead? Are you talking about a different?
No, AAMC.
Oh, AAMC. Okay.
Yeah. So
unserious.
In its news section, it published an analysis in regards of the hesitancy of doctors because of the abortion ban into it, and it also goes through at least 13 different U.S. states. And one thing that indicates to us is that hesitancy comes from the fact that even if the laws tell them, well, you don't need the imminent etc. At the same time, the law is so broad that it does not enable them to have the sufficient standards to say, I acted because this situation was emergent and we couldn't have.
What would you rather it say? Would you rather us be in the UK position? I don't know if you were on panel when I was discussing this, but the UK has to code things based on like the ICD 10 or 11. I'm not sure which one we're at right now. And they code all abortions as a medical disorder not otherwise specified, which could be physical harm. It could be you just don't want the kid. It could be literally anything. And so that's kind of the loophole to code every abortion. Do you want the law to be so broadly written that it could just be like, yeah, I can't afford the kid, so I can just kill. If that's what you want, then yeah, you and me fundamentally disagree. This law is already, as we've read, more broad than I even thought it was. This law is like incredibly broad in your guys' favor. If you want it to be like fucking more narrow, then you just want to kill kids, I guess. You know?
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that.
Confluence, you should read 170A 0021, and it talks about the delay of the physician. And routes they could go around the delay of the physician. It should be the next section down.
This one I'm highlighting.
It starts off with treatment affecting unborn children exception.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Treatment affecting unborn children exception. Notwithstanding any other law, a physician who treats a condition described by subsection 170.002 B2, the one we read before, shall do so in a manner that, in the exercise of reasonable medical judgment, provides the best opportunity for survival of an unborn child. It is an exception to the application of subsection A that if a physician's reasonable medical judgment, in a physician's reasonable medical judgment, the manner of treatment required by that subsection would create a greater risk of the pregnant female's death, the substantial impairment of bodily function of the pregnant woman. This chapter does not require physicians to delay, alter, or withhold medical treatment for a pregnant female if doing so would create a greater risk of her death, substantial impairment of bodily functions. Nothing in subsection C authorizes the performance of an abortion as prohibited by law. Yeah, so I mean, how is this?
So I want to ask you to recognize something, Confluence. No, I want to ask you. No, it's absolutely. This is absolutely not what we want. This is absolutely not what we want. No, shut the fuck up. No. Stop.
You are no. Actually, you do want to sacrifice the
No, you're a fucking clown. Stop being a baby about this. Let's talk, okay? So, do you acknowledge that every single case on all these conditions that you're reading from the law here, every case where a doctor decides to do an abortion by these standards, if they believe they're meeting these standards, this would basically be required under Texas law to be parsed through court, like legally, or at least it opens up the door towards litigation regarding that abortion.
Yeah, and it fucking should. It should.
So
the alternative is having.
So hang on. So then the follow up is you recognize that doctors may reasonably delay care that they probably should give because they want to avoid
Yeah.
going through this
And
litigious
those
process.
doctors then should lose their license. Fucking learn your
Okay, well,
medical
so you
practice.
should also
You're a fucking
understand
doctor.
that one of the consequences for making this decision, if the courts later decide that they don't agree that you had enough a strong enough case, even if you arguably do, right? Like one of the consequences is losing your medical license, as well as like hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines.
You should. If you're reading this and you can't make a reasonable judgment, and you're so afraid that you let a pregnant woman die, and the law was like so
Not just
clearly
die,
written
not
that,
just
like,
die, but
anyone-
be it
anyone
not
could
just
read
die,
it.
but put them in a situation where they're closer to death than they would have been otherwise.
Sure, the law specifically says this. It talks about like a risk of death or even bodily harm. It's not even about maternal death. This law is like broader than I think most pro-life people would want it to be. If you have like are gonna have like damage to your liver, you have like some hepatotoxicity for the rest of your life, this law would allow you to abort the fetus. This is like so
Potentially.
right, potentially. I mean, this is again, yeah. If you can't parse that, then get fucked. Lose your fucking medical license. You're not a good doctor. You have no
Okay,
idea.
well,
what the
there
fuck
are
you're
multiple
reading.
court cases going on right now, right, where people are trying to figure this out, and so like maybe Confluence and his
Because of retarded doctors.
because of his
Some
extensive
doctors are retarded.
legal background, right? He's able to figure this out. His extensive medical and legal background. Confluence is able to make this judgment very simply,
No,
very
I'm just
carefully,
not
and he
being
knows
ultra
he just knows that
retarded.
any
I'm just not
doctor
ultra
any
retarded.
doctor who has any issue parsing this, they must be a fucking moron. They have no idea what they're doing. They should lose their medical license. But
No, you know what
Confluence,
this is?
fucking
You know what
Confluence
this is?
figured it out, and that's
No,
why he
you know
thinks
what
it's
this is,
justified.
Ryan? No, real talk. This is like left-leaning doctors that want to be fucking persecuted, that are willfully being ignorant, that don't want to read the law, and are like, well, I guess I can't do it, so I'm gonna like create some case where like someone dies.
Just like the activist judges blocking all of
on,
Trump's
man, you can't
law
prove
breaking.
that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I don't know. It's not a hard legal text to parse. I don't really think I need like super in-depth legal perspicacity to understand the words they're saying. This isn't like some like fucking. It's not like some 500-page document that really goes into the weeds, right?
I think in practice, this stuff actually does get way more
Actually,
complicated, and I think you refuse to acknowledge that, and I
Then
think I know
Who
why.
has been
Because you're
prosecuted. No, then
What?
Ryan, who has been prosecuted for some woman who is actually gonna like they have a substantial risk of death? What doctor? Because right now we're talking the other way of like, oh, they have like a fear because they can't read a fucking words. Again, lose your fucking medical license, okay? Do we have an example in the other way where someone has been prosecuted for doing something totally law-abiding in Texas, where the woman did have like a substantial risk to her organs and her life, and they did the abortion, and now the Republicans, who are so evil, they're coming after that woman. They're prosecuting her, or the
So
doctor.
I don't know about the specific
Is that
situation you just
happening?
outlined, but I know that there are cases like Zurowski versus State of Texas, where there's a group of women who are suing after they were denied abortions under conditions that probably met like sepsis, non-viable pregnancies, etc. And they were arguing that Texas's medical.
Am I crazy, Ryan? Because I feel like that's not what I asked at all. At all.
Yeah, didn't I respond and say I don't know about that specific thing you just outlined?
That's not very specific. I'm saying, is there any cases?
It's
of
extremely
a doctor-
specific what you just outlined.
No, okay. The example could have been, but is there any case that you can point to in Texas where someone has followed this pretty clearly written document and they're losing their license, they're jailed, right? Like
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can find out.
Has this happened?
I mean, let's find out, right? You don't know. Neither of us know.
Okay,
Well-
so real quickly in that.
But you would say if
Ryan.
any doctor that did end up in that situation, you would assert that doctor must be a moron, must have done this wrongly, or must have they just like love killing babies, right?
I wouldn't
So
assume
real
that.
quickly-
I'd want
That
to
sounds
know
like
that
exactly what you just told us a moment ago. Why are you changing it now?
Hold on.
That's that.
Doctor-
I mean, that's a skill issue, Ryan. That's not what I said. Okay,
Okay, hold
not
on.
what I said.
Literally what you said.
First,
It's literally
one thing-
not, brother.
One reason I was keeping quiet is I'm looking at the timeline of abortion laws in the last, I would say, 25 years in Texas, which I will come back to later in that sense, because we're missing one element, which is the heartbeat bill of 3 years ago, which makes even things much more difficult. To answer your question, real quickly, because I didn't know this and I pulled it up here on my on my sources. There has been multiple doctors throughout the history of it, but more recently, Dr. Margaret Daily Carpenter in December 24, the Texas Attorney General, Texas Attorney General sued Dr. Carpenter, a New York doctor, for providing abortion-inducing drugs via telemedicine to a Texas resident. Texas has also seen lawsuits filed by women against the state, alleging that its abortion laws put their lives at risk. So there has been
That's what I was
counter.
Everything is the first thing you mentioned. Yeah, they were breaking the law. So yeah, of course, yeah.
So here's the thing.
Like I don't know what. If a drug is banned, then if you provide it, then then get fucking fucked.
In Texas Tribune, published June 23, 3 years ago, 22. Anybody can look it up right now. It's in regards of doctors report compromising care out of fear of Texas abortion law. This was published in the Texas Tribune 2 years ago. Well,
I know. I'm asking for a counterexample. I know that there's a bunch of retarded doctors that don't know how to read legal text. I understand.
Not as well as Confluence. Yeah, they're all these dummies. The Confluence can figure it all out, and he knows when they would be at risk. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Does a doctor are they more like legally trained than I am? No, we both have the same amount of legal training, right?
Okay. I bet they can probably parse legal text and then analyze it in medical context better than Confluence. Yes.
I would actually disagree with that, Ryan. To be honest with you, I would disagree.
And what's your background exactly?
Better than a doctor when it comes to reading legal text. Let's just put it that way.
Let me.
I don't believe it, but
Texas Tribune
is what it is.
And I quote: "Doctors reported that they have postponed abortion care until a patient's health or pregnancy complication has deteriorated to the point that their life was in danger." Why are they doing this? Because the law is so restrictive in the sense that
the law is so unrestrictive. The law is so unrestrictive that you fucking people.
Because it's telling you.
You just want it to be what it is. You want it to be what it is.
No.
The law is. We read the law. We read the law. What I mean, you tell me. The law. It was on the screen. What part of it do you think is so ultra restrictive? That's what I want to know from you.
Okay, let me go back into the law. I have it right here. First, if we look at Section B2, the exceptions that are being made are so broad that it impedes the decision making at the moment of emergency care attention of that person. I tell you this because I'm a trained EMT man, and I've seen that happen within the areas. The decisions that
it's broad. It is broad, but it's broad in your fucking favor. That's what I'm trying to say. It is broad, but it's broad in the pro-choice favor. It is broad. It doesn't even, like I said, it doesn't have to do with pro-choice. It has to do with anything that you could consider bodily harm.
The pro-choice, well, not exactly. The pro-choice position isn't that like, oh, well, if there's sufficient justification via medical conditions or whatever that we should allow an abortion. That's not the pro-choice
I'm not saying that. I'm saying it is more broad in your favor than it is in my favor. Okay, it is broad in the sense that it lets doctors off the hook that maybe I think they should go to jail. Can you tell us more about those
examples of what situations you think this doesn't limit that you think it should?
Well, so example, the thing about like let me see what the exact words were. But it was something about like, because it wasn't just about the death of the woman. Yeah, serious risk or substantial impairment of a major bodily function. So that is perhaps a little more broad than I would prefer it. Like, what is a major bodily function? Let's say.
To be clear, then you would say, okay. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Let's say your kid will be totally fine, but you will like go half deaf in one ear. Well, that's a major bodily function. I would say the life of that baby is probably more important than you being half deaf in one ear. So would that count? So I feel like this law is maybe
can we be more realistic than something like? Can you give a more realistic scenario? Like I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's feasibly possible for pregnancy complications to make someone go half deaf, but can you give like a more plausible example?
I mean, preeclampsia, right? It deals with, preeclampsia is about you having high blood pressure that can cause strokes. It can cause you to go literally what I said, half deaf in one ear. That's not a weird hypothetical. That is like an actual thing that can happen. Preeclampsia.
Okay, so basically massively life altering conditions. Like you don't care about that.
I do care about that. I'm saying
Doesn't sound like it. You think this
no,
rule should be
fuck
stricter?
off. No, fuck off with your liberal Molech worship.
You just said we want to kill babies. You fuck off, bitch. No.
Okay,
No
can
problem
we
with
bring
Moloch
on
worship.
Good to see you,
board?
Alex.
Hey, what's up?
Can we
Good to
bring
see you,
on board-
Alex.
Good
Okay.
to see you, Alex.
Let me just give you an example, okay? So, say you have a case where a woman is 17 weeks pregnant and she has a membrane rupture, okay? The inevitable outcome will be she will get an infection and they will need to perform an abortion. Standard of care in medicine is to do it immediately because there is no fix for this. But under this law, there is no imminent threat because she doesn't have an infection yet.
The law specifically says it doesn't have to be imminent. We read that already, Alex.
Right, but she doesn't have an infection. There's absolutely no proof that she was going to get an infection.
Wait, okay. Maybe I missed her. Okay, you're saying there's a possibility? Yeah, then like
No.
a possibility of infection?
Well,
Almost every case, there's an infection. And when there is an infection, it goes downhill really fast. This is why the standard of care is usually just to terminate, right? There's no medical certainty anywhere. You could have the worst form of cancer in the world and it goes away a couple weeks later for no reason.
I know. I mean, I feel like I
This happens all the
responded.
time.
My head cut
I
off-
responded
my
to
head's
your
not cut
super
off
chat.
So in
currently.
this
Oh,
case,
I
if you were
see
a
what you're
doctor,
saying.
would you treat her right away or would you wait?
My bad.
I would have to know the specific case. I'd have to know the probabilities. I'd have to know.
I just gave you the case.
if you,
I-
if you,
I
Infection,
have
there's
to,
no
like-
markers, nothing like that.
Good call.
That's
What
really
what
all you
percent leads to this terrible infection? What percent leads to death? I'd have
Almost
to know those
every
things.
case leads to infection.
Okay, I'm just like, am I supposed to trust you on this? Like,
Yes.
well, that's a bit crazy, but
Well, hold on. So the problem is when I take that doctor to court, the person who's going to be answering whether we should trust them on this is a jury of people like you. And
so
they're
we're
gonna
okay.
say,
No,
"But
hey, no, sound
we
out. Yeah,
trust
Ryan's
this
nodding along. Ryan's nodding along, right? So then I guess Ryan, you would have an example prepared finally of where this has gone in the other direction, where someone
not what I'm
is
nodding
some doctor
about.
is being brought up on heavy charges because they did this in Alex's example, right? There was a clear thing. Everyone knew that this would cause an infection. The infection would lead to death, and they
You-
terminated.
what did
And now
Ryan
that
say at
doctor
the
is being
start?
brought up on civil or
What did
criminal
Ryan say at the
charges.
start
Where is
about
that
the
fucking
death
example?
pregnant women in Texas right now? What's happening to that statistic right now in Texas?
Okay, so to be clear, the example does not exist. From what any of you can
No,
find.
no. There have been several doctors charged.
with this specific case,
Everyone, real
Okay,
quickly.
like with something that
We've
is
been
not
working
is
on
in
the
violation of this?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry,
then
Paul.
fucking send
We've been
it. I've been
working on-
fucking asking for it. Holy
I-
Christ,
let
on
me
a
pull it
bike.
up. Just-
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Real quickly, I also just uploaded on the back chat the the heartbeat bill that was passed later on. What we've been working with is the health regulations in matters of abortion, which have been. I need somebody to confirm this, but I've been analyzing that the ones we have been reading have actually been modified after the heartbeat bill came out and what passed through the Congress of Texas. So we need to verify that, because if so, we also have been working with an outdated version of that particular health and safety code, Title II, Health, Subtitle B. If somebody in the chat can look into that, because I've been looking into that, but I haven't been able to really find into that. But the one major criticism is that while we were looking at the regulation of the health itself, what the lower or the administrative health is telling us what it should or not should be done, we should have been looking at the heartbeat bill, which is the main law that regulates over all this type of things in Texas.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine. I don't know. I'm fine with heartbeat bills. You know, this seems like a different thing, right? It's like those two things can go in conjunction with one another, right? It's like a heartbeat bill, right? If the woman is, when is the heartbeat? Somewhere like 14 weeks. I'm just off the dome
Way
right
earlier
now.
than
I don't
that,
know.
right?
It's like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
6 weeks.
okay, sure,
A lot of women don't even know they're pregnant by the time there's a heartbeat.
Okay, so great. So then ectopic pregnancies, right,
So
could
great.
fall, but obviously in Texas, you can still abort for an ectopic pregnancy. So that's like just defeats the whole thing, right? So the heartbeat
that
bill
defeat
isn't
the whole
like
thing?
the heartbeat
but
bill
it
is not the end all be all, is what I'm saying. If you can abort for a fucking zygote implanting in your fucking fallopian tubes, and it then past a certain amount, then it's not about that amount of weeks, right? Then you can go beyond those amount of weeks. Unless you can show me a case in Texas where someone had to continue an ectopic pregnancy, which you fucking can't, and none of you can because it doesn't exist.
So
I'm not arguing they had to do
what I
that.
did-
So
I'm not either.
But I'm saying
What
that would
I'm
be the
telling you
entailment.
is-
If the heartbeat bill was the end all be all, then you couldn't abort for an ectopic pregnancy that you found out at 10 weeks. If heartbeat
I'm
was
saying
6
the
weeks.
heartbeat bill is bad because it prevents people from getting abortions before they even know they're pregnant, right? Or before a lot of them even know they're pregnant. It's so early, so it's like completely unreasonable by any by any reason.
But nothing-
Like again,
nothing to do
you're
with
because
medical-
well again
nothing to do with medical
you
reasons.
by your standard you believe that all of this is murder. So potentially you would probably investigate the 15% of pregnancies that end in miscarriages, right? You should think they should all be investigated.
Now who's the fucking bitch? Now who's the bitch? Now you.
What? Do you disagree?
Now
Do you
you's the
disagree?
bitch.
Do you disagree? You don't think they should be investigated?
No, I don't think miscarriage should be
Why not?
investigated.
Conversation
That's human life.
This whole conversation emanates from me telling you that in one grade, the health code that we're reading enables that that decision, that tardiness of decision making by the doctors in the emergency sense. And in fact, I bring up the Texas Tribunal publication, and I quote again. It tells us, although Texas abortion law contains, and I'm quoting, although Texas abortion law contains an exception to save life of the pregnant patient, doctors said it was unevenly and insufficiently applied. People have to be, and this is quoting one of the doctors cited on this article, people have to be on the death's door to qualify for maternal exceptions.
No, they don't. We read the fucking law. It explicitly says the opposite of what you're fucking reading. So I don't know if you're reading some leftoid bullshit or some
Again,
AI summary, but
I'm
it's
reading-
emphatically
I'm reading-
not what the law we just read. We
I'm
just
reading
read
what
the
the
subsections,
doctors
brother.
are being.
That's because those doctors are literally retarded, brother. That's what I'm trying to
Because
tell
those
you.
doctors don't want to get sued by individuals.
Have they been sued? Can anyone again, Ryan?
Yes.
You're streaming me, right? Your whole fucking chat. One of your fucking people surely can find some case where a doctor has followed the letter of the law and they're getting like sued now, right? Over some like
Well, I think
insane
the
thing.
reason
woman
so
was
the reason
going
that
to have, like,
Alexander
terminal kidney
Yeah.
failure and the doctor aborted. Now that doctor is facing criminal charges. I mean, where's those examples? It's like
so the
it's like the it's
so
like
I
the
want you to
trans-
consider. So I want
It's
you to
like
consider.
the trans book thing
Jesus.
where people like women were like burning, or librarians were like
Okay,
getting
let
rid
me know when
of
you're done.
books that they were like saying that because we're afraid of a law. And it's like, until you can show me any example of this law happening, it's like then it's a non sequitur.
So remember when Alex pointed out that
pull
the
Alex back
maternal
up.
mortality, dude, when Alex pointed out that the maternal mortality rate is going up in those states, right? Do you think that's a coincidence, or do you think maybe there are doctors who are avoiding putting themselves in a situation where they are going to be gone after?
I know. Again, retard doctors. Lose your fucking license then.
Okay.
Yeah, get fucked.
Well, they don't lose their license for
pull
not
Alex
doing an abortion;
back
they
up.
lose it for doing the abortion.
Wait, say again.
They're not losing their licenses for not doing an abortion; they're doing it for doing abortions.
I know. So I'm saying if you're too fearful to read what is a very simple text and not make, I mean, you signed up for this job. There's hard decisions to make and like fucking stand on your decision.
I mean, if I was a doctor, I would just fucking leave Texas. Like, fuck that.
Okay, that's fine. Then you leave Texas. But if you're gonna
Doctors are
if it's like let's say it is an ectopic pregnancy, you're gonna let that woman die. Then yeah, you shouldn't have a medical license.
No, that's not.
'cause
No,
you're
what?
not
no, okay,
interpreting the law
to be clear,
correctly.
what I'm talking about is doctors who are going to avoid treating women sooner than later, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, we'd have to look at specific cases, right? Like what?
How are we gonna
these
know? How are we
doctors
gonna know
doing?
these
What are they
specifics,
basing
right?
it on? Because everything is
Where are we
like
going to get that information? If they ultimately do the abortion in accordance with this law, right? But they would have done it earlier, and they had good reason to do it earlier, but they decided not to. Like that, I still think that's bad.
Does the woman survive in these examples that you're talking about?
Obviously,
So then I don't know, like
You don't care, yeah, exactly,
that's-
because you don't care if the consequences are worse downstream, right?
No, this is why I say that you do sacrifice.
Yeah, because you don't exactly, you don't
life.
care.
This is
Yeah,
why
see?
I say that.
Yeah, like I
because
said.
you're saying you if you're gonna lambaste me in a bad faith way, I'm gonna lambaste you right back, brother.
It's
okay?
not bad faith. Yeah, it's not bad faith.
It is bad faith because you're saying I don't care, and I've expressed multiple times.
the
If you want
reality.
to be a piece of shit.
You've
don't care about
painted
maternal
every
health
doctor in
rates,
this situation as your word retarded, right? This was your characterization.
not of you, of the doctors though.
I know.
right?
That's what I literally just said. Doctors in this situation.
Okay, yeah. I'm
So,
just saying.
I'm-
I don't.
Check
I'm just
backstage.
saying. I will check backstage. Okay, I'm just saying, Ryan.
Okay.
I think, with all due respect, I think it's a bad faith tactic if you're saying I don't care about maternal death rates or maternal organ harm when I've expressly said multiple times. I think it's like it's a balance of factors, and yeah, someone's trying to weigh it. So I obviously care about this. Just because you care about something more, if 10% of mortality rates go up, but if like 80% of fetuses end up being born, it doesn't mean I don't care
Which are
about
also
the 10%.
not, because the national rate has stayed the same for abortion.
But just hypothetically, you agree at least, okay? From my point of view, right? I'm just saying it doesn't mean I don't care about one issue, right? That's like saying I don't care about trans people if I have a specific law in mind that governs like HRT. It doesn't mean like, oh, I want those. I don't give a fuck about those people. That's like so bad.
It might
faith.
imply that, actually. I mean, depending on the
It
law.
could, but for you to put that on me is like, then you have to like fucking prove that. You can't just like fucking say that, right?
I don't have to prove it. It's an assumption. It's a feeling I have.
Okay, well, okay. Yeah, I don't have to say anymore, actually. Yeah, it's a feeling you have. No, that's
But at
good.
the very
Yeah.
least, you do think
a feeling.
you think that is permissible, right? Because of the children that are not being killed because of those laws.
Yeah, I think there's some like calculus we could do that, let's say, again, hypothetically, if we knew that like 50% more kids were being born and let's say 5% of more maternal deaths was happening. There's some number. I don't know what it is. And it gets into like the paradox of the heap in a way, right? Where it's like, I don't know what the exact line I put it at, but yeah, there's some amount where it's like, I'd be like, yes, obviously if one excess woman died from maternal complications, but 1 million babies are now being born that now get to experience the fullness of the human experience. Yeah, I would quantify that as, yeah, that's probably like worth it from a moral calculus point of view. It doesn't mean I don't care about that one mom that died. That's where Ryan comes in with his fucking bullshit and says, oh, that means you don't care about the one. No, I do care about the one, but I might value 1 million more than the one. Doesn't mean I don't care about the one. I can chew gum and walk at the same time. Crazy thing, I know. Insane skill I've adapted over the years, but I can do it.
You don't care that or at least you care relatively less that you're putting far more women in this precarious situation than you would have to otherwise. Fair?
That's fine. Yes, I care less than I care about the resulting amount of fetuses if the resulting amount of fetuses passes a certain number. Yes, I agree with that. But that's not the same as you saying I don't care. I'm just saying I find that very offensive, and I'm not. You can say it if you want, right? I'm not saying you can't say it. You can say it. I'm just saying for me. Yeah, I'm just trying to be real with you, Ryan. I'm trying to be real. I'm not like giving you permission. I'm just trying to be honest about like what I think is like a dick thing to say and what's not a dick thing to say. And yeah,
well, I think it's a dick thing to force women to stay pregnant against their will. So.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's a dick thing to want to, to murder a bunch of kids. Like we could play that game all day.
Murder a bunch of kids, right? Like, I mean, you think I would be murdering a bunch of kids by allowing particular people to get abortions?
I mean, it depends on how you define kids, but otherwise,
I mean,
yeah.
I think it's a kid in their belly. I'm killing the people by supporting their right to choose to get an abortion. Is what you're saying.
You know what? Fuck it, Hormaxer.
Jesus, Hormaxer, are you kidding me?
I guess.
All right.
Hey Ryan,
Hormaxer,
yeah, long time no see, buddy.
You have a one strike policy. Hormaxer, you have a one strike. If you say anything,
you're about to
just to be clear.
transition. You're about to transition. You
no,
queer.
Hormaxer. Okay,
Shut up, you homo and a.
Okay, no, okay. That was I tried to explain the
the
term, but he can't even listen to terms. Okay, do we know follower of Jonathan? Do we know who that is? Do we know him?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think Alexander's
Ryan,
in
you
the
know, you
back.
know who that is?
Is Alexander
Who
still in
else?
the back? He said he was trying to get back up.
He said he was.
Well, oh
That's what I was
shit.
trying to
Yeah.
say.
Oh, whoops. Oh,
Damn.
sorry, Alex. Didn't see you there.
Hey, no worries. Okay, so
So-
from what I can gather, no doctors in Texas have been charged with this law except for one who blatantly said he infringed on it. It's been mostly used to charge people out of state for providing telehealth, stuff like that.
Yeah, the other
in
one was Alan Bird. He was
the one who said it wasn't medically necessary as far as I
Yeah,
know.
he intentionally
He
he was
just did
testing it,
because
right?
he wanted to.
Okay, so W confluence or like what's? Can I get? Can
Yeah,
I
you're
get
right,
those
you're right.
attaboys?
So far,
Can
no
I
one's
get
been
those
sued on it.
attaboys?
Now,
Good job, Confluence.
Thank
Good
you,
job,
Big
man.
Soda.
So-
Thank you.
one
I'm not giving
question:
shit.
do you know what all the penalties are if they do decide to sue you for this?
Oh, I'm sure if you lose the case, I'm sure. Yeah, it could be probably. I'm just off the dome. It probably is the suspension of your medical license. Possibly, it could be an incalculable amount of like fiscal penalty. Could be maybe even criminal charges. You know,
Yes, it's a class 1 felony,
as it should be. As it should
which
be.
means
Goaded. Omni goaded.
potentially life in prison.
Omni goaded. Yes. Omni goaded.
So-
Okay.
And
Do you know of
take
any
into
other
account that any
positions?
civil can sue.
Hold on.
So anybody can sue you.
Anybody
Yes.
can
Okay, hold
sue
up. I gotta
civilly.
read my super chat, okay? Because like Alex like is single-handedly funding Ryan's like whole life, which is wild. So I have to like plug
I
where I
appreciate
can
it.
plug. Thank you, K2, for the $5. Ryan worships Molech. That I don't think I said that, but like K2 is saying that. Rare win for Confluence.
I don't even know what that
disavow the
means, so maybe I
Confluence
do.
part. Maybe you
Hold on,
do.
isn't that-
Okay, Ryan.
isn't that
Maybe you
like
do
demon?
worship Molech. Okay, it's an undecided. It's an unknown issue. It's an unknown issue. He might.
Yeah, so Ryan, I don't think you're right. I don't think that Confluence doesn't care. I think he's just looking at this as like a net gain loss.
Thank you. See, Alex is my brother, Ryan. Unlike you, who's trying to like be bad faith against me, Ryan. Fuck. I thought we were beyond that, Ryan.
I'll admit I am
beyond that.
emotionally disturbed by your position on this. So I apologize.
here's one of the interesting tidbits. Okay, besides the life in prison for doing your job and being wrong about the timing, the fertility rates in Texas have dropped substantially since these laws have been implemented. The maternal mortality rates have increased dramatically by up to 50% between 2019 and 2022. It seems like we're not having more kids; we're just having more dead mothers. And I'm not sure that's the outcome we're exactly looking for.
It depends. Like if let's say in Texas, like hypothetically, if I'm a woman in Texas, okay, and I hear about these laws, so I'm like, I will use more contraceptives because I don't want to be put in a position where I might not be able to get the elect abortion that I want.
Elective.
Right? Elective. Thank you. The elective abortion that I want. Right? Then to me, that is still a benefit, even though as a conservative, I want birth rates to go up. But if it means less dead
birth rates are going down.
persons,
So if
no,
birth
so
rates
less people are having unprotected sex is what I would take from that.
Right,
More
but
people are
also-
like being more careful, which is like
Sure.
hey, that's a W for
But
the cons, right?
that
Like
is- that
have
is a
sex with who you want to have
population
sex
going
with
down.
in a way where you accept the consequences, right?
you realize that's the population going down even faster now.
No, I know, but this is another kind of harm reduction, I guess, thing where it's like, yeah, if the population would go, if I'm faced with two scenarios, population rate goes up, but we abort 100% more fetuses than we were before, or population drops slightly, but now we have no abortion. I'd pick the second scenario, right? Even though, and that's the contravening things. I ultimately want population going up. I do want that, but I don't want it to be at the cost of like a bunch of of dead people who don't have rights and no one is protecting those rights. I don't want that.
The other thing I was going to bring up to you is you do realize that pretty much every hospital, every major hospital has lawyers that deal with this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if the lawyer signs off on an abortion because they think it's medically necessary. Doctors are going to provide it because they're being covered by the hospital. Well, most of the time. But these are lawyers who aren't willing to sign off on it because they don't think it's to that point. This isn't people who haven't read the law or people who don't know about it or didn't bother to look at it, right? This is lawyers in hospitals who are like, yeah, the penalties for this are way too high for the risk that we're looking at here. Give it more time.
So why is it so few? It's like almost epsilon people that are actually like being charged with anything. Why is it so low? Because like you think the lawyers would have a similar point of view.
No. What is the abortion rate in Texas?
I don't fucking know.
Well, if there's almost no abortions being performed, then there'd be very few people to charge.
But it's not almost no, right? It's like there is still I don't know what it is, but it's not gonna. I don't know what it is, but it's not gonna be like 0.001%, right? Like it's not that low.
It might be.
Okay, I guess if we have to Google it,
I don't think that's that crazy.
In 2023, 99.2% of abortions for Texas residents occurred out of state, and only 62 were performed in Texas. So only 62 abortions have been performed in Texas itself. Not exactly a lot of people to charge. And even if you wanted to, why would you do that right now? But the problem is you can charge this thing for like 10, 15 years later, right? It's a class 1 felony. There's not really a statute of limitations here. So if they decide to come after you 10 years from now, they can. And now you've put yourself as a doctor in the position to lose your license, pay hundreds of thousands of dollars of the fines, or go to jail, potentially for 99 years, based on Texas's standards of life in prison. Think of any other job where you could be doing your job to the best standards of your profession, and if you that hasn't happened though. Again, you said, Alex, you said that hasn't. There's not someone that's happened to a Texas doctor who is doing. I mean, yeah, fucking hell, I would. I would be willing. You'd be willing to be the first person put on trial for life in prison for performing an abortion you thought was necessary, but the courts disagree.
Yes, if it would lead to a woman dying, then yes, I would. I would bite that moral bullet.
Just a chance, not necessarily going to lead to them dying, but there's a chance they might die, right?
So I want. Sorry, but I've been quiet for quite a while. Real quickly, one, I want you to
Hi, Christine.
See the reason I brought this on the table, because this is one of the type of effects, and I already put the heartbeat bill, the one that is above the health code that we were talking about, right there. Here's the thing.
Not above it, but okay.
No, it is above it.
It's not above it, because we already talked about how you could get rid of an ectopic pregnancy that happens after the heartbeat bill would put the whatever you said, 7-8 weeks. So it's not the do all. I just want to correct that. It's not. Okay. It's not.
It's the pyramid of law. The heartbeat bill that came out is over a health code of that nature that we saw first. So the bill will always be in the hierarchical sense of law over that. But
no, it's not. I gave explicit examples where it's not. Ectopic pregnancies. It's not.
Again, the bill is always on above any health code of any department.
If by that you mean if a baby that some ban for 7 or 8 weeks, then no, it's not. It is not above that. It's just not. You're just wrong on that.
I'm talking about the hierarchy of laws.
I know, and I'm saying you're wrong about the hierarchy of laws.
Will always be on top of of that type of health code we were reviewing first. So here's the other point of this whole conversation. The heartbeat bill enables several really harsh idiocy. For example, it enables that any private individual can sue the doctor. So you say, well, there haven't been sued people, but then you have the case, for example, of Lauren Miller, who had to exit Texas because of an abortion situation. And that's just one case that we know of. We don't know how many women are exiting Texas in order to prevent that if something happens, they cannot get an abortion. So that's another issue that we need to investigate. And I'll tell you right now, there's no data. But one sure fact is that you have an exodus or a gradual exodus happening of doctors and of women in that sense. That's one of the first effects we see.
Well, this is why, brother, it has to be nationwide. You can't be going to other states to do
nationwide and
murder.
will
You
get the
you
hell
can't
out
do
of the
that.
United States, and they will come to our countries that have legalized. And you know what?
Yeah, Mexico will do it for you. So Canada.
That's well, Canada will do it. Yeah, unfortunately.
The banning of that would do absolutely nothing to stop a woman who is requiring that medical attention.
No, that's like the coat hanger argument. It's obviously going to reduce the number, though, right? Like, just obviously, because the amount of women who have like the ability to or the wherewithal and the
it would stop poor women, right? It would stop poor women and women who don't have the resources to go out of the country. Yeah, it would stop them, but not the rich women, right? Confluence.
If we grab,
it would disproportionately
So at
give
least
the rich,
so
sure.
there you go. So at least we're stopping those poor women from getting abortions.
Yeah, and Ryan, you know that is what I want. I want to harm the poor people, right? That's what you would say, I guess.
Maybe you don't want it, but you're okay with it.
Being okay with it versus
You'd prefer
like,
it to the current status quo.
No, that's such cucked logic. That's such cuck logic. Like I'm not okay. No, it is. It is because like that's a reality of life. Am I okay with people being able to? Poor people can't buy as like nutritional food, or rich people can't buy, poor people can't buy as nutritional dense food as rich people. Am I okay with that? I'm not okay with it. It's just like,
well, I mean, we're talking about laws you're advocating for. Like, that example you just gave has nothing to do with laws you're advocating for, right?
I know, but a law a law being like, yes, okay. So let's say Ryan, you're pretty like socialist coded, right? You want to like, Maybe. you want to raise taxes. Yeah, okay. So, but the truly rich people, but you know what I mean. The truly rich people could go to some other country and make just as much money. Okay, so I guess that's a law that helps the rich, but I don't think that, Ryan, I don't think that's what you want. That is the result that, the rich people could probably, the ultra billionaires could probably still find a way to make the same amount of money. But if you're advocating for higher tax rates, I wouldn't say, oh, you hate poor people, Ryan. You just want to help the rich people. Okay, I get it. I wouldn't fucking say that.
I don't want to raise taxes on poor people. I don't want to raise taxes on poor people, so that's not what I said.
Not what I said. Not what I said.
But I'm just clarifying my position on taxation. It would be a progressive tax system, right? Which
I know.
we have already.
I understand. But if you're taxing the 2 million people, can still have less ability to go to like the UAE or some other place and like set up a bunch of shell corps than someone who's like the ultra rich, right? Yeah. So that's the reality. That's how the situation would play out. It doesn't mean that you favor the ultra rich. You're trying to make a law that you think will benefit your morality.
I'm not talking about who you favor. I'm talking about the people who are disproportionately affected by your legislation, hurt by it specifically.
Well, they're not hurt. No, they're not hurt by it. They're just you said in your example, everyone's on the same page. I want
because you don't view forced pregnancy as harm. That's another key difference.
Yes, I don't see pregnancy as harm. I see pregnancy as
forced. I said forced pregnancy. I said forced pregnancy. I also don't see pregnancy as harm.
Insane.
To be clear, Confluence, I also don't see pregnancy as harm. I see forced pregnancy as harm.
Forced as in like rape?
Well, that too, but I would say if you are pregnant and you decide you don't want to be pregnant anymore, then the state, because Confluence got his wish, stops you from doing it, then I think you would be forced to stay pregnant. And if you tried to stop being pregnant, you would use the forces of the law to stop them, correct?
It depends what you mean, but probably yes.
Okay, well, there you go.
So how does that disproportionately, again, that just like, I'm trying to make a law that affects everyone, but yes, the ultra rich will probably be able to like travel to some faraway country and get an abortion anyway. That's going to happen.
I don't think you have to be ultra rich. I think you just have to be not completely poor, and you could probably do it.
That's the same with any drug law, Ryan. If I said I want to make PCP illegal in the U.S., would you be like, that disproportionately affects the poor? It technically does, because if you're Elon Musk, you could go to fucking any country and get PCP. But that doesn't mean I'm making a law that disproportionately affects poor people in like a morally loaded way, right?
Don't get me started on that, because drug policy is also an area of my expertise, and I'm going to say it out loud. The drug war is a complete and utter failure for the last 11 presidents of the United States, and it's a failure of the United Nations. And actually, the abortion and drugs issue are have correlations in regards of the impacts in society in that sense. And just to bring this up, because you know me, I like bringing up my stuff. The Guttmacher Institute, out of a study done last year, tells us that roughly 20% of more than 150,000 people who travel for abortion care, either interstate, mostly California, or outside, 1/5 of those people were living in Texas. Now, let's take into consideration that SB 8, the Heartbeat bill, it's a law that only has about 4 years of life. Let's look at that effect in 10 years. Let's look at that effect in 20 years. And let's look at the duplication of numbers. How the continuous and systematic impact of fear in the medical professionals will reduce the care either for women in the either prenatal, natal, and postnatal care. It would also, have that reservation in regards of doctors, like we've heard from the Texas Tribune, where doctors are telling us, look, I'm not going to risk my neck, even though my code, the code of doctors tells me I should not do harm and I should treat everybody. But at the same time, I don't want to get sued by Mike Johnson or Mikey from the corner because they thought that I did an abortion, and then spend 6 years of my life fighting myself in court and wasting a whole bunch of money because some asshole decided to go ahead and sue me. So
yeah, then fucking quit. Then fucking quit, I guess, right? Like the doctors should, if you don't have the moral tenaciousness to stand by what you believe and look at the law and interpret it, then you shouldn't be a fucking doctor. I'm sorry, you just shouldn't be.
But they're a doctor. They're not a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. Well, I'm a trained EMT, but I'm not a doctor. I don't make medical decisions.
You just said the doctors are in league with the lawyers.
Hey,
can we apply this to any other profession? Lawyers. Just for a second. Apply this to any other profession. Imagine if the words you used on stream caused somebody to do something and you could be held liable for it federally, criminally. Incitement, right? But at this point, it's even just saying that someone is a bad guy. You are now responsible for their actions.
Yeah, imagine, hypothetically, let's say I lived in Canada where what you just said is an actual reality and that could happen to me. And I am nevertheless still on stream and I have to watch what I say or I should stop fucking streaming because there's a risk that if I say something that goes against the Canadian government and they deem it to be hateful, I could be charged with that. So I could quit or I could fucking read the law and understand what the law says and then play within the bounds of that fucking law. What a concept. Crazy.
Hold on. The problem is, in this case, you have to do it sometimes. And sometimes it's okay. As long as the prosecutors says it's fine this time, then you're good. But you still have to say it sometimes. It has to not lead to the result that you're trying to avoid.
I know. And I feel like I think it's a weird analogy because like I do play that line. I look at the Canadian landscape, and even though I know the laws, I know it's really rare for anyone to be charged under like a hate crime law for just streaming. So I'm fine going on stream and expressing my opinion. Now, if all of a sudden, we had 1,000 streamers and where the RCMP is kicking down our fucking door, then maybe I'll stop streaming or maybe I'll be very careful. But that's not the situation we're in, either in the example or in what the analogy was punting toward.
Hold on, though. How long do they have to charge you for it?
What do you mean?
Do you do it today? Could they charge you in 5 years?
Yeah, I think Canada, yeah. brother,
so
I don't even know if
in
there's a
5
limit.
years, someone like Donald Trump could come into power, decide that what you're saying is absolutely horrendous and you need to be charged, and charge everyone who said it in the last 5 years.
Yeah, and does that again? So yeah, that's a
Oh, sorry.
possibility.
Yeah, I don't. He's
Does
not,
that? And I have to. I have
He's
to
not Canadian, but he is.
You're
No,
not
it-
forced to say hateful things.
He is in Canada.
Well, I'm not for. Well,
I'm
I
not
don't
using
know,
StreamYard to talk.
Oh,
to
I
say
mean, not
that, right?
legally, I guess. Yeah, I'm
But
not legally.
doctors,
I'm not talking to them right
are
now.
forced to perform procedures legally when they need to, right? They
Right,
have to
but-
treat the patient. But if their treatment is proactive, they can be charged. If their treatment is viewed by the courts as acceptable, they won't be. Now, if we're looking at 68 cases a year since this law's come into play, well, it doesn't sound like there's anyone been charged because no one's willing to do it.
I guess this like hits the same as when the left will criticize the right with like Jordan Peterson when like Bill C-19 came into Canada.
I love Jordan Peterson. Don't even.
Okay, I do enjoy Jordan
C-16, the
Peterson.
bill he lied about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, C-16. Oh yeah. No, the reason the leftoids say he lied about it is because there's been a few people that have been charged. There has been some, but it has been not as many as Peterson predicted. Right. So the left people will say, hey, it didn't
No.
come to fruition. Why were you afraid at all? So it feels like a weird double standard where it's like, in one sense, you should be ultra afraid. In the other sense, you should just like, well, it's an illusion. It's
Isn't
not
that
even
what
a
you're telling
problem.
Doctors right now.
What?
This is exactly what you're telling doctors right now. Except their penalty is losing 8 years of training for a career they put themselves into hundred thousands of dollars worth of debt for, and potentially going to jail for life.
Yeah, it's a serious issue. So yes, read the
No,
law
it's-
very
it's not-
carefully.
It's clearly not that serious of an issue, since apparently we don't track when people spontaneously have abortions.
That it's not, you don't spontaneously have an abortion.
That's literally what miscarriage is called.
That is not a spontaneous abortion.
That is what
okay?
miscarriage is. Yes, it is.
That is no. I'm sorry. That is not.
Google it.
Can you
Google
look
it.
it up real quick?
I don't need to Google it. That's not a.
You
That's
should.
not a
You're gonna eat your
spontaneous
words.
abortion.
You're gonna eat crow on this. Google it.
I actually refuse to. I refuse to because I know.
Okay, I'll do it for you, and you
I know
can share your
it's
screen.
not.
That's fine. You don't.
I know it's
Let's
not.
skip it then. Let's skip it then. Okay. Okay. So
No one counts a miscarriage as an abortion. Didn't we go through this on stream? Right. Actually, I think I'm like.
No, you were
I think I'm
talking about
having, like a
no,
crazy
no,
moment where I
no.
think
We
I
were talking about
literally go through
ectopic.
this exact
We were talking
thing.
about ectopic pregnancies, right?
if somebody randomly.
No, I mean
dies-
like a couple streams ago.
Hold
That we looked at all the medical authorities. None of them consider abortions to be miscarriages, or sorry, none of them
No.
consider miscarriages to be
Here,
abortions.
I literally just
right?
I just posted an example in the back. You can look at.
Well, technically speaking, if we are going to go and just wipe everything out, we can say in a rhetorical fashion that God, the idea of the God that some people believe in, the creator, etc., is the first aborter of the world because it applied through nature a way of shit happening. So at the end, a miscarriage.
That's not necessarily true.
No, but I'm saying in a rhetorical way. The point being here is that going back to my original point.
Scroll down. What is a medical abortion?
A medical abortion ends
No,
in
no.
early pregnancy by using a
No,
combination
next
of
paragraph. Look at the next
medicines,
paragraph.
safe
Look at the next
procedure.
paragraph. Look at the next paragraph.
It's okay. Next paragraph. A medical abortion is a procedure prescription pills to end a pregnancy in early
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
stages.
I misread this one. Hang on 1 second.
Okay, let me finish the point here.
It wouldn't be a
The
medical.
point being here is I'm going to go back to my original.
No one would define a fucking miscarriage as a fucking abortion.
Hold
No,
on,
no,
hold
no,
on.
they
I'm
call it
going back to my
spontaneous.
original point.
Whoop. Okay, wait. I have to pee. I have to pee. Okay, so
Okay, I'm going to go back to my original point where I said that applying the moral consideration to a medical process.
Yeah, I posted the wrong one. Here, I posted a better one, but when he comes back, you can look
Yes,
at it.
we can agree. All of us can agree that a miscarriage is not an abortion.
Well, not colloquially, but it is medically
Not
known as a
colloquially.
spontaneous abortion. It is literally.
That is the definition.
But
of-
that's why I went to the argument of the morality. We can then say that nature is the first abortion. And for those who are theists and believe that God created everything, therefore a God is the first aborter of the world. If we are going to go and just go for the most rhetorical, basic point of argument,
No, no,
But
no.
again,
The only reason the only reason I'm saying that is because he's indicating that this is such a huge issue. This, like, the death of a 20-week-old or an 18-week-old fetus, that we should treat it like life or death. And if he's saying that, then we got to treat any abortion, spontaneous or caused by doctors, the same way. Or we only care when people die a certain way, I guess.
Yeah, which is I think why he avoided engaging with the miscarriage topic.
What if there's lead poisoning
Anyway.
in a food that's being given to mothers and nobody knows about it? It's causing spontaneous abortions.
Yeah, because if you think like a regular abortion is murder, you would think something like an unintentional killing, right? Like a miscarriage would be something like involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah,
Right?
potentially.
That's something you would charge people with. I mean, it depends on his specific view, but a lot of the pro-lifers I've spoken to, that's what their view would entail, that you would have to investigate this, and it seems like that would be involuntary manslaughter because they took the risk, they had sex, right? They got pregnant, and then they unintentionally killed the fetus, right? And that just seems like manslaughter.
Well, I think in the specific Texas bill, it talks about in one of the sections, I guess the killing of a child through medical treatment or medical intervention. And
That's what the bill was about, yes.
yeah, when Compliments brings it up, he can look it up. I think it's like 0023 of like the 170 section A.
I'm not trying to
Well,
argue that
the
he
SB8
has to look at abortion at miscarriages the same way. I'm saying that if this is the same standard we will hold any living person who's been born, we're now going to apply to any fetus, then we are in a world of trouble in terms of how to cross this divide, because a lot of miscarriages happen before you even know that you're pregnant, right? They can happen after 6 weeks, after there's a heartbeat, and you may not even know that they happened.
I'm gonna present a hypothetical, and it's gonna be a somewhat absurd hypothetical. So let me preface on this sense. This is a somewhat comical, satirical approach, placing a hypothetical. How do you sue God for an abortion?
It's an act of nature. You cannot sue an act of nature.
I mean, if we're
But you
gonna
can blame the
apply it-
mother if she didn't
Okay,
eat
then-
enough, didn't drink enough,
then we should apply then manslaughter and then felony murder.
I mean, I don't. You'd have to say that God is actually causing the death, not just.
I told you it was an
Oh,
absurd.
was I muted just now?
I'm just presenting the most absurd way I can think of right now in that sense.
Was I muted
Because-
just now? I was saying Confluence. You should look at the Merck manuals link in the back. That one does literally, like it says specifically like spontaneous abortion and then in parentheses miscarriage / pregnancy loss. Like it's literally, they're literally synonyms.
Synonyms according to this thing. The thing you posted to me before, they're not synonyms. See the
natural-
Well,
problem?
the other thing didn't. No, the other thing didn't put a position forward on that. It was just a separate thing.
No,
That's
it
what
did.
we
It did. I
should
read the
have.
miscarriage thing, and then I went to the abortion thing, and they were diametrically opposed.
Confluence, what do you think an abortion is?
I think an abortion is the intentional termination of a pregnancy.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say a chemical pregnancy is an abortion, right? If you're familiar with that term, I wouldn't say a chemical pregnancy is an abortion.
Here, I posted
I
the
don't even know if I would
Wikipedia
say it's
article.
not miscarriage.
Here, I posted the Wikipedia article of the word abortion. In the very first paragraph, they say abortion occurring without intervention is known as spontaneous abortion or miscarriage. Literally.
So yeah, an abortion is just the death of a fetus in utero. That's all
That is. I mean,
Or,
I used what Ryan sent first.
Premature end of a
So
pregnancy, right? Or
so
termination of
at least
pregnancy.
we know Ryan's first source, the Cleveland Clinic, disagrees with him on that.
That's not
So,
true.
like,
Wait. Show me that. Show me that in the Cleveland Clinic thing. Show me the Cleveland Clinic disagreeing with me specifically.
I
Hold on,
literally,
hold on.
I
It may
that's
not
what you
believe
read.
it, but doesn't
Okay.
mean it disagrees with.
I don't think it even disagrees with me. I think it doesn't have. It doesn't put forth a position on it.
Okay, well,
Well,
let's
it's not.
see.
That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about medical abortions. Medical abortions are not spontaneous. They can't be. Definitionally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Medical
not
abortion
relevant
is an
to.
intervention by a professional or by medicine.
But see, that goes
Okay,
back to
well,
my original
I
point.
mean, yeah, if you want to redefine abortion, I guess to mean
I'm not
anytime a
redefining
pregnancy
it. You
ends.
are. You are the one changing the definition right now.
I don't think
No,
I am.
He just doesn't agree with the definition, which is fine. We can move on.
Yeah, you don't agree with the definition as it's used currently, but
if you
that's
want
fine.
to
Yeah.
treat-
It's
If you
no.
wanted to
Honestly,
read
you
that
guys are
as a
like the
fetus-
most ultimate gaslighters of like all time. Well, specifically you, Ryan. Okay, so. Okay,
I'm
so
not a
this
gaslighter.
is if we're talking about normal, this is like the first thing that pops up from Oxford Dictionary: the deliberate termination of a human pregnancy. Okay, so that's what the colloquial definition is.
Yeah.
So that's fine if you have some special or technical definition from some
It is
source.
the
That's
technical
cool.
definition.
Yeah, I'm talking
That's
about
fine.
technical. I'm literally talking about technical. Yeah.
Okay, so then who's authorized to give these technical things? Because so it's not you said. Did you not
Okay.
say it's the way the word is used? This is not the
hold
way
on.
the word is used. The word
Hold
the dictionary would
Colloquially, no,
define-
it's not. I agree.
Not
I agree. It's used this
descriptive.
way. Yeah.
The dictionary would describe it, right?
Hold on.
All I'm
No,
telling you
I
is that
didn't realize
spontaneous
full
abortion is a synonym for miscarriage.
Hold on. You earlier said that abortion is the intentional, correct? That's a word
Yeah.
you used.
Yeah.
The dictionary is telling us that it's a deliberate.
Yeah, I would say
Deliberate and intentional are not the same thing.
I think those are. I think those are
deliberation-
roughly synonymous. Yes, I think those are roughly synonymous words.
That's fine.
No,
I also
no,
posted the Wikipedia article for
Deliberation-
miscarriage, which does the same
Deliberation
thing.
may
Right.
end up
Hold
on
on,
an
Alpha, can I
intention,
ask you
but a deliberation in itself is
Sorry,
a
Alex.
meditated,
No worries.
recent, internal as well as external, step by step.
That's what I mean by when I say intentional. So
Intentional can be not an intention can be completely and utterly non-deliberate. It can be moment in a moment.
Well, deliberate just means that that's what you're intending to do. So does intention.
yeah, that's
I hate semantic disputes.
just
Can we
hold
not
on,
get
hold
caught
on.
up on the semantics and
Hold
just
on,
talk
hold on.
about what we
So-
mean?
Sorry, I'm a
What would
linguist.
you call it? What would you call
Yeah.
it if a doctor gives you medication and you're pregnant, and the medication unintentionally causes you to miscarry? Would you just call that a miscarriage? Would that be an abortion?
like there was no intention. The medication was like
They didn't know
something.
the medication would do that.
Okay, yeah, then no, yeah, I would say that it caused an unintentional miscarriage. At least for the sake of morality. That's what I
But
would
this
say.
is
great.
done
Can I-
through medicine, through medication, right?
Hmm.
I mean, miscarriages by definition are unintentional. So I don't know
Right.
why they unintentional to it.
Well, I feel like you and me are saying the same thing.
He's
Well,
saying
no,
you're being redundant
I-
by saying unintentional miscarriage because miscarriage is defined as unintentional.
You would just say miscarriage.
Right, but according I thought Ryan and other people were saying that that's not the case.
No, I'm just talking to you right now.
Yeah, the only thing I'm saying is that spontaneous abortion and miscarriage are synonyms. And if you didn't trust the Wikipedia article, I just posted cancer.gov. Maybe you don't trust them either, but this one literally outlines what a miscarriage is under the definition of spontaneous abortion. So
We've been through this
colloquially,
before,
we can
Ryan.
move
I
on.
swear it was
Colloquially,
you.
it's not used the same way.
Some doctors think an ectopic pregnancy counts as an abortion.
we're not talking about
and some
we're
don't.
talking about
There's
miscarriages
some-
right now. We're not talking about ectopic pregnancies. Just click on the cancer.gov link. It's very clear.
I'm saying the point is different medical organizations define these terms differently, and whoever was goaded enough to say we shouldn't
the
get
National
bogged
Cancer
down in
Institute.
semantic definitions is the one who is winning this.
That's fine. You don't want to get bogged down in this because you're wrong about this, right? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you don't want me to go there because I'm also a linguist, so.
No, I'm not. Ryan, I am.
You can talk
I'm
about
not
different
wrong
medical
about this.
organizations, but I'm pointing to the National Cancer Institute, which is a pretty specific one, right?
Yeah, and I guess cancer is like super tied into abortion. Fucking kill me in Minecraft. Fuck me. The cancer organization. That's I guess the ultimate
Hold on.
source. Fucking
You
cancer.
realize
I get
that
like
with
what the
cancer,
fuck?
While you're pregnant, you pretty much have to terminate the baby.
No, but why would we be like why would that be the most authoritative definition for this? Would be the cancer org.
I'm not saying it's the most. I'm saying it's a
you're
pretty
just pulling something
authoritative
that
one.
agrees with you, which is cool. That's cool.
Find me an authoritative source that doesn't describe spontaneous abortion as and miscarriage as synonyms, right? Find me one.
That's because you're preloading it by making making it if you define the term already of spontaneous abortion.
No, I'm telling you
what
it is
else could
defined that
mean?
way.
You're making up a fucking term. That definition
I'm not
has to
making
mean
it up.
the same thing as miscarriage, and you're googling it to
Hold on,
find
Tom.
places where they use that fucking term. That's not how
You
abortion
touched
is
that.
used. That's not how miscarriage is used. But yes, if you want to make a
link.
new term,
It is how it's used. It is literally how it's used. That's what I'm telling you.
Spontaneous.
No, you are the one making up your own terms, not me. I'm using the medical terms.
No, you're specifically finding a term called spontaneous abortion. Okay, most definitions of abortion don't include miscarriage, but yes, if
Yes,
you
I agree with that.
hyper focus on spontaneous abortion, that definitionally just preloads it to mean miscarriage because you're adding the word fucking spontaneous into it.
Yeah, which
Like,
means
is
it-
that
Okay, then
not
we agree.
so patently obvious?
But I'm not making up this word. That was the thing you just assigned to me. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you this is how the medical literature uses
I
the
didn't say
word.
you're making
I'm
it
not
up.
saying that. I'm not saying that these
saying
are
the
included
things
in
you
general abortion
found.
stats either.
Actually, you denied that this was the actual definition. That's why this whole conversation.
I'm not
started.
denying the definition of this
Word.
neo term, spontaneous abortion. I'm
Not a
saying
neo
that most
term.
medical people would not define abortion as a miscarriage. That's what I'm saying. Spontaneous
that's an
abortion,
empirical
sure.
question. When you say most medical people would use it in this sense, that's an empirical question. I highly doubt you can provide empirics for that.
I mean, yeah, I guess I can't look at like all, but I won't accept something that is already preloading into the definition that it is spontaneous. I'm not going to accept that for obvious fucking reasons to anyone with any like
What do you mean
prefrontal
accept
cortex.
that? Because that's just how he's using the term, and he's saying this is how these authorities are using this term. What is there to disagree with? Do you disagree that that's how the sources he's bringing up are using the term? What are you disagreeing with?
I'm disagreeing with adding the term spontaneous into it, okay? Because like if we look at
I'm not
like
doing
the WHO, WHO, that's got to be pretty authoritative, you know, even though I don't like the WHO, right? The way it's talking about abortion here, right? It's talking about abortion as an actual intervention, okay?
Yes, to
This
be
is-
clear,
if you read
just
this,
so we're clear,
it's
I'm not arguing.
intervention.
I'm not arguing that miscarriages or spontaneous abortions, which are synonyms, by the way, I'm not arguing that these are included in general abortion stats. I'm not arguing that.
Oh, why? I wonder why, Ryan. Why would they not be included? So an
I mean,
abortion.
because
So
they're-
you have to invent not you specifically.
I'm not
but the
inventing
general
it.
You, the medical.
Nobody's
health has to-
you're assigning like political weight to why people use this term, but it's just all I'm
Well,
communicating
I guess,
to you.
yeah. Why would you? No, Ryan. Actually, what do you think? Why do you think they made up the term spontaneous abort? Why? We
I think
already
it's
have
just
the
how it
term
was.
miscarriage.
I think that's just how it's been used historically, and you're crying about it right
That's
now.
how it's been used. That's how it's been used
Yes,
historically.
medically, yes,
It's
yes, medically, yes,
Spontaneous abortion.
yes.
In the early 1800s,
Can you show
was
that?
The first time it was called.
Because that is
spontaneous
not
abortion.
true.
Hold on.
It is true.
Do you think the politics of this go back to the early 1800s?
I think it goes back to the
That
1980s.
became a medical term. Is in the 1800s.
That's when it became spontaneous abortion.
No. That's when they coined the medical term spontaneous abortion for what they later translated to miscarriage for the lay people.
Then show me.
Look up the okay. Hold on.
Sure, I have the link right here. It's on MSD manuals, for example. One of the major, the professional version in that sense. It tells us spontaneous abortion, miscarriage, between parentheses, miscarriage / pregnancy loss. Fatal death and early delivery are classified as follows: spontaneous abortion, pregnancy loss before 20 weeks gestation, fatal death at 2 to 20 weeks, preterm delivery of live fetus between 20 weeks and 36 weeks and 5 days. So
Also, real quick, Confluence. I mean, look, K2's offering you 100 to kick me. So I mean, if you need to get your bag, like, I'm cool with it. Get your money.
Bro, I mean, if K2, I mean, $100 is $100, you know? I mean, yeah, I mean, I'll kick myself for $100. I mean, who am I kidding? I mean, fuck, $100, absolutely. Kick fucking anyone, you know?
What about $100 and nobody gets kicked?
I mean, that would be the best option.
K2
you know,
has
but
that
I don't
option
know if it has-
apparently.
Where did K2 even say that? How are you reading chats? I'm not fucking reading them. Am I
It's,
this blind?
it's in the StreamYard chat or like the comments here. I mean, I assume it's in your regular chat as well, but I don't have that open. But whatever your StreamYard comments.
I'm on like top chats or something on YouTube. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
K2,
everyone, good reminder.
100%.
Good reminder, switch from top chat to live chat if you haven't done that yet.
I know. I miss so many chats. Maybe because my chat is expressly, a little on the edgy side. But
also, are you? Do you see it this? I mean, regardless, I still support K2 giving you money, but like, do you acknowledge that I'm not gaslighting you about this spontaneous abortion term yet? Like, I'm not making this up.
No, you're not. You're not gaslighting. I just think it does come down to like semantics, right? It's like, we know by an abortion, when most people say that, we mean the termination, the intentional or deliberate or whatever, right? Termination of a pregnancy, a miscarriage, a different thing. So sure, on the words, that's fine. I'll give you that.
Honestly, that's why I was frustrated because there was like, from my point of view, and I understand, I think, why you were resistant initially, but like, from my point of view, I wasn't actually trying to load anything. I was just describing like reality as I understood it, right? That this phrase spontaneous abortion was synonymous with miscarriage, and I got frustrated when we were denying that, and I was like, I know this to be true, and then I dug into like all these.
See, maybe I'd have to go back. I don't think that's how it started. I think you were saying that all abortions are miscarriages or vice versa. No. And then when you quoted me, then you started saying stuff about spontaneous abortions. But I have to go back and check.
Sure. But no, I don't think that's what happened.
I was the one who was talking about it. And all I was saying was, if we're going to treat fetuses the same way we treat people who are born, in terms of how important it is when they die, then we would have to start tracking spontaneous abortions. That's what I said. Because
now I don't like that you put me in a Sophie's Choice. So now I have to decide who are the two. First of all, thank you for the $100, biggest dono I've ever gotten.
You can totally kick me. I'm good with it. I need to go get my case for that anyways.
Okay, so I guess, this is mainly meant for you, Ryan, I guess, to be fair to K2. And Ryan, you respect the bag, so
Well, of course.
Okay, so I will kick Alex. Alex, I don't know if I want to kick you. If you have to go anyway, I will kick you, but like, Alex, me and you are friends now, so
yeah, no worries, dude. I'll join you. Well, we can talk later. Like I said, I need to go anyways.
Okay, no hard feelings. I'm not the one who's saying you're a gaslighter. Okay, that's K2. That's not me. But, and 07's Ryan. 07's Ryan as the chief gaslighter. Gaslighter in chief, if you will.
Ryan, nice to share a panel again with you. And this time on another subject that that I'm pretty good at. So.
Actually, I should have given this chance to Alex. I'm sorry, Alex. Actually, I'll bring you up. Do you have final words? That's only fair. Final words for each of you.
No worries. Somebody in your chat brought up an interesting question about child tax credits in pregnancy, since it's got to be treated as a living person.
The IRS doesn't recognize it as alive. I want a child tax credit when I get pregnant if it's a living child. I would be if abortion is not allowed, I would give you that child tax credit, Missy. I would 100% give it to you. Okay. So Ryan, your last words. Last words, if you will.
Yeah. This was definitely a more interesting abortion conversation than a lot of the usual ones where they just kind of present like a bunch of hypotheticals. Umbreon, please. I'm giving closing statements, sir. I prefer talking about the real world impacts. I think we can see why it is that doctors are going to be less likely to give abortions, even in cases where potentially it might be justified to do so. Obviously, it's just barely happening in Texas. I think broadly that people... I think Confluence at least acknowledges this and grapples with it, more or less. But like, I think people need to acknowledge that, like, to get your goal of banning abortions, you have to necessitate that you force people to stay pregnant against their will. And I just invite people to consider what a nightmare situation that is for women, and just to try to imagine yourself in those shoes. I don't think these people who are seeking out abortions are evil. I don't think they hate children. Most of them are mothers. In fact, the majority of people who seek abortions are already mothers. So something to keep in mind. But Confluence, a pleasure as always.
Pleasure.
Umbreon, I'm gonna buy a shot caller for you now. I'm going on Amazon right now. I'd shut him up. I don't think he believes me. He's gonna keep crying. Well, we crashed the abortion panel, and now we're done from it. Now we're banned from the abortion panel. We crashed and burned the abortion panel to the ground. I don't know if we're gonna. I might just call it soon. But pro murder Trumpers, true Pisco. Love the Umbreon stickers. Love the Shrek stickers. Good to see you, Fluzzy. I saw you pop in earlier. Oh, it was fun while it lasted. Who doesn't believe me? Wait, about which part? Oh, I was talking about Umbreon. I think I was talking about Umbreon with when I was saying he doesn't believe me. I was talking about Umbreon because I told him I said I was gonna give him a shock collar if he wouldn't stop crying. It's my dog. I was just bullying him. But he's that's why he's still whining. Two-pump Trump. Yeah. No, I see what you mean now. But yeah, I was talking about Umbreon. Come here, buddy. Oh no. Oh, you thought I was getting up to let you out, but I wasn't. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Okay, Hasanavi, exactly. I told him I was going on Amazon right now to buy a shock collar. What? He's not even wearing his collar right now. Oh my god, you guys. This dummy. Earlier, he was scratching his ear. He was scratching his ear, and there was like a little like a sticker or something from when he was running out in the yard that had like a clump of his hair kind of stuck together, and his claw got stuck on that clump. So he was like, it was with one of his back legs. So he's like trying to scratch his ear, and he was stuck. He just started like screaming. Poor little guy, such a doofus. But I think maybe I'll take him for a late walk. It sounds like he's pretty. He's finally woken up from his slumber. So thank you all. It's been a good night. I enjoyed the panel. Umbreon, please wait. I'm literally. I'm gonna free him from this prison. Really? I throw you the ball. You go to the ball, and then you start crying again. What is that? Can't I even say goodbye? What a whiny wiener. Yeah. GG's. I think Pisco went live not long before, so I think I'm just gonna send you guys to Pisco. It would be kind of funny to send you guys to Confluence. But I think I'm gonna send you to Pisco and keep building that bridge because I want that Pisco bridge to be strong and sturdy. All right. Getting Buddha is mission accomplished. Yeah, to some degree. Whoa. We do not use that language here. No, sir. No. Who taught you that? I did not teach him how to talk like that. I swear, guys. I never taught him those words. Christine is not a serious enough person for these panels. Neither am I, but I do it anyway. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like the stream. Make sure if you're feeling gracious, super chats are still allowed as I give these closing statements, and you can also do super thanks on videos, by the way. If you like watch an old VOD and you're like, damn, I want to throw Ryan some money, that's one way to do it. Or you can also do memberships. We love those members. I haven't really been shilling memberships as much, but I appreciate them. Actually, I think Umbreon's yelling at me right now. Actually, I think I have 10 more memberships for the month that I can give out. So I think tomorrow we'll do a stream, and I will maybe do some convince you guys to do something like just get the likes up or whatever to and then I'll start gifting out my 10 December subs or memberships. But okay, before this dog has a heart attack, I'm gonna leave. But I love you guys, and tell Pisco learning is radical, and also remember that learning is radical, especially right now. Oh my god, dude! Oh my god! What?